Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike.
I'm Jay.
And sorry for the delay, but my headphones are a piece of poop. Hey.
Mike's such a pedantic bastard.
Oh man. You know what tonight's all about?
Ezra Miller's arrest record. It's going to be a long night.
Things are going to get dark here in the Texas sun.
Yeah, so apparently, it was a bomb, according to all the box office news that's coming out. It's made less than 20 point something million of what they were expecting on the opening weekends, but it's still got critical. I mean, it's still fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the last time I looked, it was 66% fresh on the critics score and 85% on the audience score. So generally, audience seem to like it, but it just, it's not the end of the world though, because if you look at the fact there are some movies that made, I just literally looked this up. It was on, I think Collider or Rotten Tomatoes. Movies that have made in the past less than 20 point something million for their, or below that threshold is what they're looking for, is stuff like X-Men First Class, which was fucking awesome. That was a badass movie. And then also, what was the other one that nobody really cared for? Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. That was a good one too. And neither one of those movies made any kind of opening weekend box office success. The other two have deserved it, like Rise of the Silver Surfer was a big old turd. Other than Lawrence Fishburne's acting ability and his voice for Silver Surfer, everything else about that movie fucking smelled like old shit no one had flushed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. Well, it also got so the Flash I saw a B cinema score, which B sounds like it's fucking all right, man. People think it's all right, but apparently a B cinema score is actually more like a D minus in regards to like regular scores, because they're polling a group of audience who already love it and go see it. So when something comes out of B, it actually means that the audience who paid for it's sort of disappointed in it. So I don't know. It's
that sounds like some college Falooey bullshit right there. That's like when you go to college, like instead of getting an F, you get an E. I'm like, what the fuck is an E?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I think a lot of like, I think almost everything that's like typically like halfway decent, like in like the periph of like the majority feels that way, is like always like an A plus, A minus or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's insane, man, that this did so poorly. I think it definitely means there's no fucking sequel ever going to happen.
Well, not as far as Ezra Miller being in it.
Yeah.
But and I guess that is, listen, here's the thing. I like the movie. I did enjoy the movie quite a lot. And it's so funny, dude, because when I watch the movie, it sucks that Ezra Miller is such a dickhead in real life, because I actually liked him. I think he had some charming moments in the movie, especially when he does the time travel thing and he goes back in time and he meets his younger self. I actually enjoyed those moments. I liked the comedy. I thought it was pretty funny. It was on point for the character that they've already developed since Justice League, so it wasn't that far fetched. But I mean, it sucks because he's such an asshole.
What'd you do?
Ezra Miller's here to steal my wine and beer. Everybody get back.
I hope he likes Michelob Ultra.
He probably does. It's fancy for his ass. But no, yeah. But either way, yeah, it's not. I really did like it. But I mean, again, by the way, I will say, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, this is going to be a spoiler talk. So just so you know. But before we get into the spoiler talk, if you haven't seen it, there is a bonus ending after credit scene, but it literally means jack shit. I don't even know why the fuck they put it in there. Somebody said, oh, well, if you look closer, it's actually something that's setting up the James Gunn universe. Absolutely, it's not. It had nothing to do with James Gunn. I don't even know why in the fuck that was in there. I'm not going to tell you what it was, just so you know. You're going to have a few more minutes to get out of here because we are going to talk spoilers, but you don't have to stay and watch it. It's not pivotal to the overall James Gunn movie.
I didn't. You know why I didn't stay and watch it? So when you explain it, you'll have to explain it to me too, because I didn't fucking watch it either, because I just saw it today, and I took my children, 7-year-old, 13-year-old, took them to see it. 13-year-old grew up watching superhero stuff with me, so I think she's the same as I am. She's a little bit worn out on it all, but she still enjoys to go for the big ones or whatever, and the 7-year-old just sat through 2.5 hour Into the Snyderverse sequel and had no issues, right? And granted, she had a little bit of a headache, but I'm within 40 minutes into the movie, the 7-year-old was like, "Get me the fuck."
Well, this movie's over the head for other. I think it was a lot over the head for kids. I don't think it was literally supposed to be like. There's a lot of time travel shit going on. There's a lot of logistical stuff. Well, I mean, and again, it's the last movie of the Zack Snyder universe, so it's going to be a little bit darker themed. By the way, that's another thing I will point out. I'm not making excuses for the movie. I didn't write the fucking thing, so don't get mad at me. I was going to say also, it did open against Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse sequel. That was going to be bad news for anybody. That movie is already a fucking skyrocketing money-making machine. So it was going against that. Ezra Miller's goddamn bad press. The movie, all the drama leading up to that movie. Anyhow, but yeah, it is the first. I was confused at some points though, and there is a couple of things about the movie that I fucking can't say. I don't get why in 2023 CG can look as bad as it can in certain scenes. Like it looked like fucking like a college student made that shit.
Yeah.
Like everybody and the babies, like there's one scene specifically where he puts the baby in the microwave, which I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like I've seen some horrific shit on the news and stuff where that actually happened, but those babies look like, you remember that thing? They used to have this commercial where the dancing baby back in the 90s. For like that's exactly what they look like. It looks exactly like the technology of that time.
Oh, Daddy, you paid too much for that.
No, that shit looked better than what they did with the babies in that. In the movie.
I did.
But
no,
but and then there's hokey ass shit. Like even when Ezra Miller's like looking around and he's in the time space or the Speed Force, his face looks weird. I don't know what the fuck that was. Like I don't know if it was supposed to be some kind of like gravity effect, and so it was on purpose, or if it was just somebody was like, man, this movie. Who gives a shit? We're going to put half-ass time in.
Well, it's crazy because they had so long. This got delayed, and there was all the stuff, and there's the Ezra stuff, and they had so long to do it. I don't know. Like, so like I haven't even talked to you about how I feel about the movie as a whole. I know how you felt about it because when you texted me, I was like, God damn it, Jay. Because we were in the last live stream. I was like, don't fucking tell me how you feel. I don't want to know yet until the stream. And then you text the group chat. You're like, I won't say what she said. Like,
I forgot. Yeah.
No, I was like, fuck. And I was like, so I hope that I enjoyed it. And I won't get into my thoughts just yet. We'll give it a couple more minutes before I give it my thoughts. But yeah, like there was a point actually where I was watching it, despite my feelings on it, where I was going, I actually kind of dig the blue sky behind the characters. Like I know when you think 89, I'm gonna bring 89 Batman back. All right, what are you gonna do with him? Oh, it's gonna be awesome, dude. I'm gonna put him in front of a beautiful bright sky. It's
I'm
like
see that motherfucker in time.
But it's like the opposite of where you put Batman, darkness of Gotham. I'm gonna put him behind a blue sky the entire time. It just doesn't look right. But I will say, like those shots, like a lot of those shots, I thought they were kind of. It was sort of freaky. It was sort of freaky.
I liked it. I think it matched well, and they relied, which I have no problems with it, whatsoever. They relied a lot on the Tim Burton track. A lot when Batman was on screen. I fucking loved that. Every time that music came on, I was like, God damn, that's some good shit right there. Give me a joint. Let's smoke it. But no, the weird thing was, and I don't know what it was, and I know it was meant to be a joke. The Ben Affleck thing, there's something weird about that. I don't know, there was something off. Like when he was talking to Barry as himself and Bruce Wayne, you guys have seen the trailer when he's like, but you could mess up everything. When he's talking to Barry in the alleyway, that was normal Ben Affleck and it was good. But when he had the bat suit on, something was weird about it. His face looked weird. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because he lost a lot of weight. His muscle mass isn't what nearly it was. But maybe it was because they were shooting it in daytime. It didn't look right. I don't know. And then, by the way, the suit, though, was blue. And I noticed that when I was like, that's kind of badass because everybody was like, where's the classic 1970s blue Batman costume? They actually showcased it in this. And I was like, dude, it fucking works pretty well because a lot of people are like, I don't want to see that shit. I was like, it works pretty goddamn well. It looks pretty damn good.
I love that shit. The Ben Affleck stuff was my favorite part of the movie for sure. But his face did look weird in that smushy penguin mask.
Well, when he was
his nose was all like,
it wasn't like he had the half-ass attitude that he had when he was working with Joss Whedon, but it kind of felt like I'm here for a check, really. I mean, he's not like he cashed it in, but it was kind of like, yeah, I'm here for one more time.
That scene maybe a little bit, but I did feel like the Bruce Wayne scenes, he absolutely fucking crushed.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about all that for sure. Sinister Creations, thanks, Body. He said, anyone think Ezra gave Jimmy Fallon vibes?
Yeah, when he was fake laughing sometimes. Yeah,
I could kind of get that. Like, well, Jimmy Fallon, like as much as I think
he's so unfunny, dude. I think he's one of the most unfunny dudes.
Well, I know he can be funny because I used to I've seen his stand up before where he does like impersonations and shit like that, but he's such a fake seeming person. Like when he's on stage, he feels like he will say whatever he thinks you want to hear, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like he doesn't feel like authentic or real, and I think that's Ezra. I'm like, it was a great acting performance from Ezra. It really was. I mean, honestly, he should win an Oscar for it because I mean, he didn't hit one person, he didn't choke any women, he didn't groom any children, and he didn't, kidnap anyone's children or steal any. Oh, he did steal alcohol, so he let it flow a little bit there.
That man deserves a key to the city. What are we waiting for?
So that's acting.
Yeah, that is actually funny. There was one where there is a scene in that particular movie at the very beginning when he was like talking to some lady. He's like, maybe you should seek psychiatric help. And I was like, God damn, man. Sometimes life dictates reality, and reality. I was
life
like,
imitates art.
Life imitates art. I was like, when you read that line, were you looking at yourself in the mirror when you were practicing? It's like, maybe.
It's just the fucking genius of fucking DC, dude. Warner Brothers, like, you've got this bajillion-dollar movie. You got Ezra Miller, who's all this stuff going on. What are you gonna do with this character? And they're like, we're gonna have him put a baby in a microwave.
Yeah, well, and the whole movie, it starts out too pretty much like he's disillusioned with the idea that he's like a cleanup guy for the Justice League, even calls himself the janitor of the Justice League because he's not doing the important shit. At least he's not assuming he's doing the important stuff. Like at the very beginning. By the way, it was really nice to see Alfred though. Jeremy Irons comes back too as Alfred. He's communicating with the Flash and telling him where to go in the hospital. That scene, by the way, the hospital scene, which is the very big, giant scene at the beginning of the movie, where the Flash has to go rescue these babies and this nurse falling from a window as a hospital explodes. They were trying to go for like something really mega awesome, and it looks good. Don't get me wrong, but dude, for some reason, the Quicksilver scenes that they did in the X-Men will always be number one as far as like the speed stuff. That it was trying to do that. It had the music kind of thing going, and it just didn't work because the CGI looked shit. They never matched the coolest Ezra Miller Flash sequence where he was actually utilizing his power and running through time or whatever that I've ever seen. And it was only done once, but it was by the Chocha Zack Snyder in the extended cut when he runs back in time to save the Justice League. That shit looked fucking epic and monumental. This one looked kind of like, it's like, bitch, I got to go home on Monday. My wife is killing me. I've been here all day. But but Ezra Miller does. I mean, he actually was a pretty good actor in this. Don't get me wrong. He's not bad. I mean, I don't like him, but I mean, he wasn't bad.
I think that, there was a point in the beginning, there's a point in the beginning where, let me just give you a prerequisite how I went into this feeling about the Ezra situation. Like, they're fucking not somebody that I saw, as we talked about in the last stream, I saw some people being like, I know they've done some bad stuff, but this movie's awesome. And I'm like, okay, like that kind of shit. I can separate the art from the artist for sure. And I didn't go into the movie like, I'm going to hate it no matter what, because Ezra Miller's in it. But that being said, he wasn't doing himself any favors. They weren't doing it. And I didn't like, when I went in and I watched it, there was a couple times toward the beginning where I was like, okay, they fucking like, there's some good lines. They're doing a good job. I wasn't mad at it, but by the middle of the film, I really was sick of it. Like I was so sick of the performance because it was this, especially when they meet up with
Batman.
Their previous self, and there's two of them now. Fucking two of them. All right, Jesus Christ,
the world will never be safe again.
Right. I hope. Thank God we didn't have tickets to go to karaoke in Hawaii tonight, dear. But like when there was two of them, and they try to do that fucking Bill and Ted shit, like, whoa, like this shit's Beaver, bro. I'm like, you're getting my fucking nerves so bad. Like that shit was not catchy to me. And they did a terrible job marketing the movie, in my opinion, because every still shot, all the shit I saw of Ezra Miller was them making that dumbass fucking face in the mask. Like,
I actually, the weird thing about that, I actually didn't mind it because it did show the parallel and the contrast. Because there is a scene earlier in the movie where I guess we might as well start talking about it. There's a scene where Ben Affleck, Batman, is talking to Barry Allen in the alleyway. About, Barry is kind of talking about like, I have the power to go back and save my mom. I could go back and save your parents, and get rid of all these scars and who we are. And then he's like, these scars that we have are who is what make us who we are. And he's like, don't let tragedy define you. And then Barry Allen or Ezra Miller says, tragedy made you a hero, talking to Batman. And then Batman says, yeah, but it also made me alone. But he's also speaking of the fact that, listen, the bad shit that happened. I feel like it's a good parable for life. And bad shit that happens to you, the scars that you collect over your life make you who you are and who you're supposed to be. Going back and fucking with that is going to cause a lot of problems that shouldn't be there to begin with, because these scars have made you stronger. They become they don't define you, but they're part of who you are. So and then when he goes back in time, Ezra Miller in the Flash, and he fucks things up and he meets his younger self is everything that he would have been if those scars had. So he's this goofy asshole, irresponsible prick that doesn't know what to do with all these powers, and just a goofy, annoying guy. But Ezra Miller, the current day Flash, our world's Flash, is more balanced. So I mean, I like that because it does show it put in perspective for Barry Allen what Batman was telling him.
Yeah,
those tragedies and those scars made you the hero that you are. Otherwise, you would have had it easy. If you'd had your mom your entire life, you would have been cool.
I thought that the theme of that, and especially, and I think that's exactly what Ben Affleck meant when he said that he thinks that this is his best couple minutes playing Batman the whole time, is because that conversation between the two of them when he's talking about, well, your scars make you who you are. I thought that was genius. And it's weird because it's a weird parallel when you go back to the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Ben Affleck had the best part about that movie too, where his monologue was talking about what it's like to be a dad and how it's about their life and not yours anymore. But like, it was the same thing in this scene. That one moment there, it teared me up a little bit. Like in the midst of a movie that I didn't love all that much, that moment teared me up because it was so good and he was spot on with that. And that was really good writing in that scene. And I thought going forward, how they paralleled that and how they did that job of of like talking about the past and living in the future, and some things can't be changed, and how some things are a constant in the multiverse no matter what, and the scars make you who you are. I did love all that stuff. But let me just say real quick, I feel like we're burying the lead a little bit because like, we're going into pieces of the movie. Like just before we get into any further spoilers, I'll just give my whole like vibe of the movie. Like personally, like I think that I really enjoyed the first fucking act, dude. Like when it opened up, I thought it was going to be really great. Like I was enjoying it. And I was like, okay, I see what people are talking about. I'm really enjoying this. The stuff, the Danny Elfman score, like you were talking about, or just the score in general, whoever was on it, I had fun with that. It felt old school.
I want to get the album.
Yeah. And the whole movie felt, one thing I'll say about the movie, the whole thing felt cheesy fun in the way it felt like it was almost nostalgic for like 90s action. You know what I mean? Or 90s superhero movies.
Yeah, it's not exactly. If you're going and thinking it's going to be a Zack Snyder continuation, it's not. It's his own thing.
But that stuff I really like too when they interjected that. But no, I love the opening act. I love the Batman's Wonder Woman stuff. I love that opening scene was fucking great.
Well, there's a big spoiler right there. Wonder Woman is in it. Well, that might have been leaked already.
But yeah, I knew all the cameos, but we're well into spoiler territory now, so we're good. But like, no, I love the opening act, but the middle of the film, it's just a brand new Flash origin story. Like we're just going to tell the whole Flash origin story to you over again, but they're going to intercept this new story with the two Flashes and all this. And that was the middle of the movie is really Ezra Miller's place. And I did not enjoy that very much at all. Like I was bored with it. I get the point. I get what they're trying to do. There's good stuff in it. It wasn't all terrible, but I just don't find this person to be that likable.
Well, I'm offended, you asshole. Go the fuck back home.
I didn't enjoy watching them on screen, and I thought they were being too much. They were trying to be too cute, and it felt over the top, and it felt fucking forced, and I just did not buy any of it. Yeah. And then the third act of the film, I love Keaton, and you know me, dude. Like I'm right there with you. Like we grew up on '89 Batman, right? Like we love that shit. Owned all the toys, all that.
I loved him in the movie.
I was fucking super stoked for the return of '89 Batman at first. As we went further and they started immediately using you want to get nuts, let's get nuts, and like Walmarting all of that shit for this cheap nostalgia bait. I started to get sketchy.
Like
and then like
Stu in Scream.
Not at all. They've never used Scream.
I know, but I'm saying, but the idea that the pandering.
No, I mean that's a totally different. This is a superhero thing that they're doing. But like, I just like I think that I would love to see Stu come back. Yeah, but still, yet in this,
I'm not 89. Skeet. I'm not. Yeah, Stu wasn't.
Oh yeah, I would love to see fucking '89 Batman come back. That's not what I'm mad about. I'm not mad they brought Skeet back. I wouldn't be mad if they brought Stu back. I'm not mad at all nostalgia ever.
You just didn't like his performance.
No, Michael Keaton's always great. But the way they did it was cheap and it was super CGI'd, and it made no sense to me that they brought him out and he was this old fucking hippie that couldn't fight all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden he puts on the suit and he's fucking Superman again.
Yeah.
That made no sense to me. All of his fight scenes, the beauty of '89 Batman was it felt kind of grounded, sort of realistic. They had to do that shit. This felt like I was watching it felt like I was watching AI redo Michael Keaton as 89 Batman. Everything was CG. Everything felt fake. I got excited. I still got excited during the fight scenes and shit. Like, I still enjoyed watching them because I'm like, oh my God, it's the old bat suit. Like, all that shit still hit me.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't help but think, man, somebody else could have done this so much better than they did it. I felt like we're lucky to see 89 Batman on screen again, but this was just the cheap Walmart version of what could have been. So that stuff didn't really
I don't know. I don't know if it's a Walmart version. I will say I think it was rushed as fuck though. It felt like, here's the problem with the Flashpoint series. It could have been 3 movies, 1000% 3 movies. And then you have to, so 2.5 hours seems like a long time, but for that particular storyline, the Flashpoint itself, there's just too much. There's too much in that you can't put it all in one. That's another problem that people have with BVS. What's his fucking name? I was gonna say Onslaught. Doomsday, having the Doomsday thing in there, the death of Superman
was forced.
They put way too much shit in one movie and packed it down. And it's like, oh my God, if you'd stretched this out, this would have been epic. I think the same thing applies to this situation. Michael Keaton was great. I loved him. The classic Michael Keaton Batman is there. The thing about the long hair and there's a scene in the kitchen where they go to Wayne Manor, old Flash and young Flash, to get the help of Bruce Wayne to get back old Flash's power since he lost him, which they do keep pretty close to the comic book as far as that goes. There's a lot of things they just leave out though, and they either don't have time for them or they just don't care. But when they get there, Michael Keaton is like, he looks like, dude, I swear to God, when I saw him, he's got greasy, long ass fucking hair. He looks like goddamn John Carpenter trying to write a new Halloween script. But when I first saw him, dude, I swear to God, I thought it was going to be Malcolm McDowell. It looked like Malcolm McDowell because I was like, oh my God, is that Alfred in this universe? Is that Alfred? Malcolm McDowell with long hair? And he goes, I thought it was going to be Malcolm McDowell. And he was like, I haven't seen Bruce in a long time. Like, I thought it was going to be like that, but it wasn't. It was actually Bruce Wayne, which I was like, okay. Then he says, I'm not Batman anymore because Gotham is safer than it's ever been. I was like, how the fuck is that possible? Where's the fucking other superheroes? How does that happen? But I guess because he's been so busy, he's got rid of all the crime. So, okay, I get that. But there was a lot of rushing with that character and like him immediately. Well, it took like all 10 minutes for him to come around from this broken down, I don't care anymore, I don't want to be Batman, Gotham's safe, for him then to come around completely and be like, I get it. But there's one heartfelt scene where Barry is talking about, he does reveal to Batman, old Barry, why he's there and what happened. Like, he went back to save his mom. They do have a cool moment, like the old Michael Keaton talking about his parents and talking to Barry about it. And he's like, he goes, I can't blame you for what you did. If you ran back in time and you could have said, I saved my, I liked
that
all
was
of
a touching
that.
scene. That was a great
I
scene.
did like that a lot. And it did give me the vibe because you never really got to know. I'm not saying that you didn't, but in the Tim Burton Batman, it really didn't focus a lot. I mean, it did on his emotional pain, but not in very in-depth moments. You didn't really have a lot of in-depth moments with Tim Burton's Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne. So in this was pretty interesting. But yeah, I do agree that it felt, that's why when that group message I said, it felt rushed, because that's what I was particularly talking about, was the whole Bruce Wayne Batman aspect of it. Because again, if this movie had been stretched out over 2 or 3 movies, that would have been more significant, because then you could have the first movie where Batman's reluctant, he doesn't want to do it, you get to introduce him, but you don't see the Batsuit till the sequel, and then you expand it out further. But anyway, for what it was, I mean, again, I look at it in a way that how I look at it is like, this was the last time you were ever going to see these characters ever again. I mean, unless they've somehow contract Michael Keaton to come back and reprise Batman, which I'd fucking be down for it, but they probably never do it, because I'll just jump so far. Yeah, I fucking hated that. I'm like, I was like, why the fuck did you do that? Like, that pissed me off, because I'm like, there's no reason or rhyme for you to have done that. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It's almost like, hey, Tim Burton, open your mouth, I'm going to slide a big old cold cock right down your throat. And I'm like, there's no reason for you to do that, unless James Gunn, I don't know who was like, you got to get rid of that. Okay, we can't have any more of this nostalgia shit. We can't always have people comparing this Batman to that Batman. We got to get rid of it. And that pissed me off.
And for those, if you don't know, there's a scene at the final battle of the movie where Keaton's Batman has a cool scene. He's like, I'm going after that big ship or whatever. And then he dies. And then they go, well, we got to go. And Supergirl dies too. And they're like, well, we got to run back.
I like her too. She was good.
She was. And they're like, we're going to run back a little bit. And save him, but every time they did, he would die in a different way. And then Keaton finally dies, and the way he dies, it's even confusing, because like you said, it's rushed. It's confusing how he died, like what was his injury. Like he's badass in the scene.
I think I'm gonna assume it was internal bleeding.
I think so, because he got slammed hard.
Yeah, by that fucking Kryptonian.
Yeah, but it's kind of confusing because he fights this dude, and it's a badass. Let me put it this way: if it was filmed better, like it would be a badass scene because he's attaching this dude and throwing his bat bombs inside of his suit.
That's cool.
And like it's a cool idea, but this felt like it felt like the beta version of what it could have been. But like, because it feels like Injustice, like you're watching a video game. But like he gets slammed and then he's bleeding from the mouth, and he has a great line about when they're like, "Oh, I can bring you back," and he's like, "You already did."
Yeah, they did a very Darth Vader-ish. He goes, "I'm not leaving you here. I've got to save you." You already have, Luke. But the Return of the Jedi was that moment was so epic. That's why it's my favorite, because it had taken 2 movies to get there. That's why it was so epic. You barely got it's like hanging out with your fucking friend that you haven't seen forever, and they're like, "Damn, man, I gotta tell you something. I've always fucking hated you, and I'm gonna go back tomorrow." You're like, "I just saw you, and now you've got all these problems, and you're leaving me." Like you got reintroduced to your like a guy you haven't seen forever, and then they take it away from you immediately and slap you in the face, like, "Sorry, kid, you're adopted." And
yeah,
you're like, "Oh shit." Died. But no, I think it was unnecessary. It was stupid. I get what they were doing with the Flash and the time thing. They were like, there are certain moments in time that cannot be changed, that can't be fixed, because it's I can't remember the actual, it's time travel, but there's actual terminology for like a moment in time that the nexus point. If you no matter what you do, no matter how many times you go back, you can't fix it, you can't change it. It's fate, because if you were to fix it, or if you somehow broke that the line there, it would fuck up the reality. They explained it better in Doctor Strange in the What If series. But anyhow, his and Supergirl's death are inevitable, and Thanos is not there. It's just
there's certain chunks. There's certain chunks of reality that stay the same no matter what.
Which I get, but I mean, I'll tell you what, man. I feel like Michael Keaton Batman deserved a much better and a cooler way to go out. I don't know. I'm not saying that it wasn't good, but it could have been done a lot better and a lot more grandiose for that particular, for the momentous. And I got teary when I was like, God fucking damn it. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, it ain't real. It ain't real. He's gonna have he's gonna do something cool, and then he didn't. But also, I gotta say, it's a kind of a tragedy. The girl that played Supergirl did really, really fucking good.
She was great,
and I was like, to be honest, I don't think it's fair for her to be attached to this fucking toxic ass movie. And I'm not saying the movie's bad. I'm just saying toxic movie because of all the drama with it.
Yeah.
That her character is now just shuffled off. And I was like, maybe James Gunn takes pity on her and be like, well, we'll bring you back in a different, in my universe. Because she was good. Mm-hmm. She actually was good. And I liked her too, because there was no political shit maneuvering. And it's like, I'm Supergirl, not Superman or Superwoman. It was like, she was still feminine, but she was like, I've got power. It was a very natural evolution of the character. I feel like she was just badass just to be badass, which I like. Yeah. It's like Ripley or something.
What I really enjoyed about her character is that when she floated up into the sky, and even though you have this very strange, like ironic scoring almost, if you will, cinematography version of like the CGI where it's like blue background where you don't usually see that. When she was floating in the sky, like the CG was fucking poo-poo Darkwing Duck at sometimes.
So hit or miss, yeah.
But there was some moments where it was so strange that it almost felt cool and original. And she was one of those parts. When she was floating in that blue sky and she was super thin the way she looked like an alien, and it was fucking creepy. And I dug it. Like I was like, that looks cool. Like I like this. Well, and I was shocked at how much I enjoyed watching the CG around her character, because usually I fucking hate CG, but I thought it looked kind of like Chronicle, sort of fucking cool and weird.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I think they did. I mean, the movie is there's so many fragmented parts of it. I feel like what happened is like one team took over, then something happened, and another team took over and was working on what they were working on and making something new, and then another team took over. I feel like that's what it's a fragmented ass fucking movie as far as the special effects go, because you could tell the level of work. Like one was a goddamn stoner from college that worked on the baby scene, and then it was goddamn mastermind that worked on Avatar. And another scene, and then it was a fucking middle of the road guy later on.
This is all sort of a running theme, though, that ties back to Andy Muschietti, because the It movies had the same issue. They had bad CGI in them at times. That was
sometimes
sometimes it would look really good. And then sometimes the CG in those It movies looked really bad. So I think people are saying, and now it's a rumor, but it's like sort of a substantiated rumor that and who knows with the box office problems with this, but like he's supposedly going to direct the Brave and the Bold Batman movie in the new James Gunn universe. And people are going, you better fucking fix the CGI this time.
I think what Andy Muschietti was in a really tough situation, because you're talking about the Snyder thing happened, then all the controversy around Ezra Miller. They didn't know where they were going to go. They didn't know the future of the studio, or not the studio, but the series. They didn't know about anything with DCEU. And he was just kind of left floating. Like, I don't know what the fuck I guess I'll just make the movie.
Sure it was a hard job.
Yeah. And then James Gunn was like, all right, well, I'm coming in now. You're going to make movies for me. And he was like, okay, so you're the new emperor. I'll kiss your ring.
Typical Warner Bros.
But
job,
but it's
right?
like, okay, but Andy Muschietti is a good director. I think he just needs to have, like, he's like, if the guy in charge has got a focus on what he wants to do, then I can work with that. If Andy Muschietti was like, all right, I'm just going to make an independent movie. If I make an independent movie that has nothing to do with anything, then I would be better off. And I think that's where he was kind of fucked, because he was like, am I still making a continuation of Zack Snyder, or am I making something new? Where the fuck am I supposed to do?
I actually thought they did a good job story-wise, as like the story itself, like and honestly, when you're thinking about all the things they had to juggle, and again, I'll just say right now, it's a spoiler review, so we got a billion more things to talk about. Like, my total thought on the movie is like a 6, probably 6 out of 10.
I feel
as the whole thing. But that being said, the story itself, with what they had to deal with, I thought that they did a really good job pulling the heartstrings at the right times. The stuff with his mom was touching. The Ben Affleck stuff, like I said already, was really well done. And for a movie that, it was all over the fucking place. There was times where I was going, Jesus fucking Christ, I've seen this movie 30 goddamn times by now, with the multiverse shit and the time travel and the fucking, Jesus, it should not, for one, this fucking thing should have been 30 minutes goddamn shorter. There was no reason.
I agree. I think it was way too long. And the weird thing about the mom, I took April with me, and she cried a lot. I only got teary-eyed really at the Michael Keaton thing, and I think I got teary-eyed at one part. I don't remember what it was, but the thing about it is there's one particular scene between, like, super young Barry, when Barry's a kid, and the mom and the dad, and it feels so disingenuous. It felt like I was watching a goddamn Folgers commercial. Like, it just didn't feel real. It just felt like paid actors doing, like, really cutesy shit for no reason.
Honey, you can save 50%
on your car. Oh, I gotta go. Mom's starting to dance. I'm gonna get out of here. You want to break me out of? It was so fucking there was no chemistry. There was no It just felt really awful. It felt like a TV commercial. But other than that, I don't know, man. Like, I gave the movie an 8.0. I did like the time travel aspect of it, even though I think some of it was very wonky and it was kind of poorly explained. The CG does not work in some aspects, but I did like the CG. I liked Ezra Miller's performance. And I will say that I liked actually everybody's performance in that movie. I did. I don't think anybody did a bad job. Michael Shannon was great. It was good to see him back as Zod. I feel like his character was sorely underused and killed off way too early. I love Man of Steel. Don't get me wrong. Mike and I both love Man of Steel. But I feel like Michael Shannon should have come back. And so if we'd ever had a Man of Steel fucking 2, it would have been great. But and it was great to see Michael Shannon and the whole thing with him taking on Supergirl. But there's something, when you see him take on Supergirl, you're like, that should be fucking Henry Cavill that you're fighting.
Well, Michael Shannon, it's funny because it was like on one of the red carpets for the fucking movie. Like, he was supposed to be hyping the movie up, and they asked Michael Shannon. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't enjoy working on this movie as much as I did working on Man of Steel." He was like, the character work just wasn't strong enough. He's like, it wasn't the same. He was just like, this just kind of felt like some. I'm paraphrasing, but basically, he was like, this felt empty and kind of like a cartoon, whereas Zack Snyder's version felt like it had strong character work, and I had a lot more fun doing that. And everybody was like, God damn,
I thought he said, I swear I read somewhere he said it was fulfilling. I don't know.
He said it was not as fulfilling. Was the direct thing.
Right, but Michael Shannon, he was too busy predicting earthquakes. By the way, if you haven't seen that movie's really good.
That's a great movie.
Well, overall, guys,
you can't blame him.
No, well, it was like he was brought in for a paycheck, which it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was never going to be any super big development of the character. The character was literally brought in because the time stream was changed. He's coming in for 5 seconds. The movie's only 2.5 hours. Again, this movie should have been 3 films. I mean, if things hadn't been fucked up because of Ezra Miller's dumbass and Warner Brothers having a thumb up their ass and shooting their own foot 99% of the time, we could have an epic fucking movie. And especially if Zack Snyder was in the driving, controlling seat, and as far as producing it, understanding where we're going to go, what we're going to do. I think what we would have had would have been an epic story leading us into something really crazy cool. And I think what would have happened in Flashpoint, you would have seen that moment, what we saw in BVS, where Flash runs back in time and tells, Batman, she's the key, Lois. You're never going to see that, though. And unfortunately, what this is, while I enjoy it it's fun, it's entertaining. I got entertained. I think it is what it is. And I like the Flashpoint story, so I am biased. But what we got was a shell of what could have been. That's what I look at it like. I'm like, God, that's a really fucking nice ass Corvette. And then you open it up like, there's no fucking engine. Where's the goddamn engine?
Yeah.
And then I could sit in it and look cool and take pictures and put it on Instagram, but I don't have an engine.
And I think they band-aided amazingly story-wise. I thought they band-aided it really well. Like I thought the story actually checked out from point A to point Z, minus a couple things. Like I said, Batman being able to fight, not able to fight, then able to fight, and then we just didn't. But I'll do you one further. Rather than, I wouldn't want to see 3 of this movie, but I would want to see they should have, if Batman coming back should have been his own goddamn thing. Mm-hmm. You could even done our own thing about, like, I think the Flash part, like the actual Ezra Miller Flash part, should have been a fucking Disney Plus TV series type shit, because I just don't think anybody fucking cares at this point. The Flash the character matters, but Ezra Miller's version of the Flash is just like, it's like a perpetual origin story. Like, hey, when the fuck are you actually supposed to be an adult superhero? Like, they force fed us a whole nother origin story with him having to teach the other dude how to do it, and then he still didn't have his shit together either. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm tired of watching fucking Twilight, the Flash version. Like, give us a fucking well-rounded superhero.
I felt like, again, it was Andy Muschietti not knowing what to do. I feel like James Gunn was like, we're not casting Ezra Miller as the Flash. He's like, okay, so you may kill him off and like reboot the series with a new Flash. He's like, no, you just do your own thing. Yeah, I feel like he was getting mixed. Because what I would have done if I had been a director in that particular position, I'd be like, all right, so Ezra Miller, and if I had known I was going to work on a movie in the James Gunn universe, I'd be like, all right, Ezra Miller's not going to be the Flash. I would do something like self-sacrificing of the Flash. The character runs back in time. He disintegrates or something to set things right. And then, everything gets returned to normal. Barry Allen's still alive in a brand new reality that has just been created, but you cast another Flash at that moment. And that's the fucking end sequence that I would use as far as after the credits roll, a new Flash.
That's so Warner Bros, dude. Warner Brothers, literally, you have a fucking Flashpoint movie that gives you a perfect goddamn excuse to immediately recast Ezra Miller and get a new Flash and get rid of all these problems. And Warner Brothers takes that golden fucking nugget and goes, I think we'll just cast Ezra Miller for the next one too.
No, because I feel like those dumbasses are so out of touch. The upper management, the shareholders or the CEO or whoever, that they really thought, I think that they thought that that this would eventually like go under the rug and nobody would care anymore, that Ezra Miller was still with his goofy ass being fucking the Flash. And I'm like, no, people don't want him up there as the Flash anymore. They don't want to celebrate him. They don't want to. I felt personally, I was like, listen, I liked him in the movie. I did. I kind of enjoyed him. I don't like him as a person, so it makes me feel all fucking torn when I have to like go and watch a movie with a guy I think he's a fucking asshole. Just like Amber Turd. I don't want to watch Aquaman 2 with Amber Turd in it, but you're going to be forced to do it. So I think that if Warner Brothers were a little bit more in touch with what our audience wants, and they've been told for years, I'm not a fan of this. They've been told for years that Grant Gustin is who they should be casting as the Flash. Grant Gustin's not bad. He's not a troublemaker. So that you got like, he's a choir boy. So you've got that as far as like, that's check marked off.
Ezra's like, you're a fucking choir boy compared to me.
Yeah. He's like, why I smoke cigars? Because I can. Like,
unlike you.
Yeah. But I'm not a fan of Grant Gustin. But I mean, if Grant Gustin would be 100 times better than Ezra Miller, as far as like, there's nothing going on there. But yeah, dude, I feel like Andy Muschietti was put into in an impossible situation. He did his best. A time travel movie is hard as fuck for anybody to talk about, unless you're fucking, the greatest James Cameron. But it's still a hard ass movie to sell. Or even I'll give it to Back to the Future. I did like the Back to the Future part though when they were talking about that was cool. Were talking, what was the guy that was almost cast as Marty McFly? Actually, in this universe,
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz is Marty McFly.
That was a good joke.
That was loved it, dude, because he was like Eric. He goes, Marty McFly is played by Michael J. Fox, and then this guy that's like a stoner on the couch of Young Barry's apartment. It's like someone talking about BTF, and he like sets up. And he's like, don't tell me that Eric Stoltz isn't Marty McFly has a tattoo. He's like, look at my thigh, and he's like, first off, that's not your thigh. He's like, and it's upside down. He goes, is it? And like he straightens his leg. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty funny ass joke. And they even have more like where Kevin Bacon was actually in Top Gun and Tom Cruise was in Footloose. I loved all those little tiny things. But the coolest thing about this movie overall, while it was fun and enjoyable, the cameos are really fucking. They're incredible. While their faces are fucked with the CG, like again, the CG don't look good. I did like that they were trying to do. They did like the preschooler version of what the multiverse is in the DC universe. Yeah, there's a whole fucking dude. There's so much information. If you guys don't know, look on Crisis on Infinite Earths. They briefly touch on it in this movie, but there's so much, and they kind of try to shove it in a preschooler with crayon with like palsy trying to explain what it is. So
I think he just explained the whole movie when he said
but there's moments in this movie, and you see at the end, and if you're not familiar with the comic books, you won't care. You're like, oh, that's cool, that's neat. But if you're familiar with the comic books, the Crisis on Infinite Earth, and you see this, you're like, oh man, they're barely scratching the surface, and they're fucking driving through this bitch with a monster truck. They don't care. And again, that would have been another particularly. There's a moment right fucking there. That you're right. Warner Brothers could have got out of the whole Ezra Miller thing right there. They could have got out of it, and they choose not to do it, and it's crazy. And by the way, the bonus ending, I'm not going to get. We'll get there, but again, they I don't know who the fuck is in charge. Helen Keller of the Warner Brothers fucking sheriff, like the CEO. Like who's making the decisions? Because you're fucking you're blind and deaf. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh god, no, it's that is like like they should just change the name to Warner Brothers LLC Helen Keller.
Just change the Warner Brothers symbol to the Braille.
100%, dude. And that is the thing, like even the cameos that we're talking about. And I think the only one where I went, wow, was the fucking Nick Cage.
Yeah, I did too. I was like, oh my god. I was like,
but
I was like, that's him.
But it was immediately ruined for me by how cheaply and lazily they fucking did it. Like, and that's pretty much my thing with this entire goddamn movie. The same way as I feel about 89 like Michael Keaton's back as Batman. It's like, yeah, but it might as well have been a fucking cartoon because they didn't put any heart and soul or like adult filmmaking into it. And I mean, porn. I would watch that too. You want to get nuts?
Vicky Vale shows up with her tits hanging out. I'm like, Bruce, you remember me? He was like, I never forgot you, Vicky.
Lick these nuts. Yeah, but like, no, but like you give us fucking Nick Cage, and at this point, I kind of feel like I'm in a meme, like not a movie. I'm just in a fucking meme. Like it's like, oh, there's a TikTok. Imagine, like, honest to God, dude, I swear to fucking Christ, who's that guy who makes all like the picture edits, Boss Logic or whatever the fuck? If he'd have made a goddamn Instagram reel and was like, this is what I thought it would look like if Nick Cage was Superman, it would have looked better than what we fucking saw. Well, again, you're in this fucking millions and millions of dollars, all this high, one of the biggest fucking movies of the summer, supposedly, and you give us a fucking Instagram reel, and you're like, but they're gonna love it because the fans are gonna suck our tits because we gave it to them. It's like, it just feels fucking.
I feel
useless.
Like Nick Cage. I actually like that. I like, you guys know. If you guys don't know, there was a movie that was proposed by Tim Burton years ago in the 90s that they were gonna have Nick Cage star as Superman, and they had this. If you go and you look on YouTube, you can actually see some of the test footage of Nick Cage in the costume. He had long black hair, obviously extensions, but he had the Superman suit on, and it was going to be a wild, weird thing. Even Kevin Smith at one point was involved in the script writing, so that was a whole thing. And in this movie, they put Nick Cage in the film with a CG face, obviously, and he's fighting this big robotic arachnid as he sees the multiverse kind of coming together. That was funny because Kevin Smith had actually mentioned like that arachnid was in the storyline, so I thought that was cool. If you knew the history of that particular,
which is why
it was great, which
is why both of us were like, "Holy shit!" But then immediately,
if you're just a vanilla fan, you're like, "I don't know what the fuck that is," but it was cool. But it was
the execution that sucked.
Yeah, the CGI could have been way better. And by the way, I will say, even as bad as the CGI looked with Nick Cage fighting that arachnid beast, and him I gotta be honest, man, I kind of dug it. I was like, if we'd got Nicolas Cage as Superman back in the 90s with Tim Burton with a little chest hair poking out of his Superman suit with the long hair, I might not have been. I'd be like, hey man, I'm not saying I'm sold, but I'm saying I'm interested.
It would have looked so like I'm down with the idea of it too. Like,
I'm kind of down.
I watched all the test footage when they showed Nick Cage as that.
It didn't look bad.
Right. And like the idea of the giant spider, like to me, if they did it in the 90s, it would, and that's the thing to me, like, and that's the thing I don't think these people that this is what I feel like they don't get. Like, had they actually done that in the 90s, it wouldn't have looked perfect or whatever, but it would have looked, he wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have looked like that. Like Nick Cage's Superman would not have looked as what they fucking showed us. Like he wouldn't have had literally just Henry Cavill's fucking suit on, standing there like a goddamn KB Toys fucking suit.
No, that was the suit that Tim Burton. That wasn't Henry Cavill. That was literally the suit that Tim Burton had designed.
No, it wasn't, dude. That was a totally different one.
He had the one. You could see his chest hair poking out.
I mean, it may not have been the Henry Cavill suit, but it wasn't that suit. Like it was in the video, the test footage they showed.
Because it lit up.
It didn't look good.
It had the lights. It had the lights.
Yeah,
on. Well, here's the thing about it. The other cameos that were in it, George Reeves was in it, which I mean, it was cool. It was a nod to history. Christopher Reeve came. He's there along with the original Supergirl from the '80s film Supergirl. The CG looks so fucking. They did a better
that too.
Yeah, well, they did a better job on the CG with Christopher Reeve's face in Man of Steel when he's like going up to beat the World Crusher and their face kind of morphs for a second. And I was like, you guys, you know what it reminded me of? And while I think it was The Mandalorian season 2 when Luke Skywalker comes back at the end of the film or at the end of the show, it reminded me of that cheap ass, lazy looking CG when they put young Mark Hamill's face on the body double.
Yeah,
they fixed that in the season 3. He looks way fucking better. But it was like, I don't know if you guys just didn't know what you were doing or you guys just didn't care or you didn't. I feel like. Again, I'm just going to point. I enjoyed the film for it. It was a very fun Universal Studios type of Hollywood ride. I enjoyed it. I like the time travel movie, so I'm biased on that. But it feels like a shell of a movie of what it could have been. And I feel like people that worked on this film, to be honest, I feel like a lot of them stopped caring. In post production, when they were doing CG shit, they were like, either they were getting new jobs and they were, this film was dead on arrival, so they were like, I don't care, or they were like, we'll do our best, but whatever. And I feel like the movie suffered from a lot of that. But yeah, I am going to say one thing though. I read an article and it was so fucking stupid, and even people in the comments were like, what kind of useless ass, clickbaity ass, shitty ass article is this? Like, some people just want to bitch about the dumbest shit. It was a Yahoo article. They're like, how disrespectful, them bringing back the dead for acting roles. Bitch, you didn't say a fucking word when Star Wars did it with Carrie Fisher. You didn't say a fucking word when they've done it before in the past. Yes, the CG was terrible. It didn't look good. But do not sit now, all of a sudden you have a moral conundrum that they brought back dead actors for a cameo with a CGI face. And then they've done it. They did it in the Fast and the Furious with Paul Walker. With his twin brother, and his brother. Now all of a sudden you have a moral conundrum. So I hate people that say that shit like that was so disrespectful. It was not disrespectful. If anything, it's honoring their legacy. Yeah. Get your fucking panties out of your goddamn ass and soak up some of that bitch with a tampon in your mouth.
Yeah, if they brought Christopher Reeve back and showed him snorting coke out of a hooker's ass, maybe, I understand. But it was the likeness of the character that we saw on screen before. Yeah, I just that's stupid. But I didn't like it because I saw it and I felt like a fucking dude. Like when I see scenes like that now, at this point, I feel like when you get a free vacation somewhere or a free karate lesson, and then they're like, but you have to sit in this half an hour long timeshare sale where they're like, yeah, but like we really want to sell you a timeshare. It just felt like, I don't know. I feel so used in those moments. Like I feel like consumer used. Like we know what they want to see. So let's just. I heard you like sloppy joes. Let's slop it on. And they show us Christopher Reeve, and they're like, oh man, these fucking nerds are gonna jerk off in the theater to the nostalgia we're giving them. We don't even have to do a good job. But we'll just half-ass it and have them fucking throw it. Nobody cares. They just want to see it and fucking jerk off to it. These goddamn nerds. And like I wanted to be psyched to see Christopher Reeve. I wanted to feel something.
I didn't know I didn't know any of the cameos.
I knew a couple, but none.
I knew the ending. I knew the ending one, but that was it.
Yeah, I wanted to feel something when I saw Christopher Reeve, and then they just did it, and I was like, dude, this is a fucking cartoon. Like Batman looks like a cartoon, fucking Superman looks like a cartoon, Nick Cage looks like a cartoon.
I wouldn't go as far as like Batman was looking. I mean, I thought Batman was fine. I feel like the CGI,
the fighting scenes felt that way to me. Just the fighting scenes.
He looked his age, which I mean,
yeah,
he's I mean, it is what it is. But I mean,
but when you can do what you do with like Old Man Logan and like do these things
know
with these
what?
characters and actually like put some heart and soul into it and like actually carve a neat character in there, they're like, nah, we'll just fucking CGI and make him fucking. Dude, this Batman could have kicked 89 Batman's ass.
He would have whooped Ben
Affleck's
shit. Ass, like straight up whooped his ass, like no doubts about it. Like this motherfucker was pulling out Bruce Lee moves. But I think that and again, the audience shouldn't be responsible for this. But in my head canon, I was like, oh, it's because the suit is like got like some kind of exo armor that like gives him like injections.
I wanted them to say that.
No, I know, but like gives him injections of steroids or something in his muscles to make him be but I was like, like audience shouldn't think of that shit, but I had to do it in my head canon. I was like, this motherfucker is like exactly. This motherfucker is like 100 years old and he looks like the crypt keeper and he was like making spaghetti and now all of a sudden this motherfucker like mom's spaghetti all over your sweater and then he runs out there and he's fucking whooping ass like Bruce Lee. I was like, that's because the bat suit. I would have done like, oh, Alfred made one last bat suit just in case you ever wanted to do it. And this thing like gives you like periodic stimulations of the muscle with steroid injections that make you run faster, do like things that you shouldn't be. And I was like, that's what I would have done. But anyway, I'm just a fan, and those guys are the genius in Hollywood. But Mike's parallel his analogy there is it's like going to a karate lesson like, dude, I just want to break fucking skulls and like smash goddamn concrete and like break through wood. I want to go with Johnny Lawrence and you get in the class and Danny LaRusso is teaching. You're like, oh fuck. I said we gotta like learn the ways of the Jedi and I want to kick some ass.
Yeah, right.
Well, Johnny Lawrence.
And that's how I feel about it. Like again, like I think it's I'm glad we got to see Keaton have a little bit of fun. Like I enjoyed watching. You could tell
he had fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching Keaton have fun. But at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, I'm just like, is anybody gonna be like when their kid asks them, "Wait, what was your Batman when you were younger, Dad?" Are you gonna show them the fucking Keaton in the Flash? Well, I was like, oh, that was a cool cartoon. You're gonna show them fucking 89 Batman.
But you couldn't show them the end of the road. You have to show them the beginning of the road.
No, I'm just saying, like in general, like I'd probably show them the first three or I'd show them Batman Returns, and I'd be like, all right, kids, that's the end. They're like, but wasn't there one more? I'm like, yeah, but you can read the 89 Batman comic book. It's probably better than that. It's just, it didn't feel fucking real world. It felt like it might as well have been a DC animated film.
I feel like it was rushed. It felt rushed.
Yeah,
that's what it was. I think it just felt rushed. And again, I love seeing Michael Keaton in the Batman.
But they're like, look, the Batmobile. Be mesmerized.
I did. I was mesmerized, and I was too. But I would have been like the Flash shot at fucking sit in the car like and fell asleep. That was badass. Twinkies. Yeah, eating Twinkies or sandwiches or whatever you fucking have. Like I'm not gonna get out of this. And by the way, speaking of Cameos, they even have the laughing bag, the Joker. From Jack Nicholson, he's like, "Hey, there's this bag that laughs." It goes. I was like, "That's kind of funny." I think it was cool, but yeah, man. Overall, I give it an 8. I enjoy it because again, the time travel stuff. I like seeing Michael Keaton as Batman. Ezra Miller is tolerable, but it's not just that. It's because everybody else that acted in the film did a really good job. I think that they did the actors and the director and the team that worked on this movie did the best they could with an impossible situation, like a really, really shitty situation. I feel like this movie had the bones to be something great, and because of all the unfortunate circumstances that revolved around this film and leading up to this film, and the whole thing with Warner Brothers not knowing what the fuck they are and what they're doing, and are they going to be Marvel or are they not Marvel? What the fuck is Joker a comedy? Is it a musical? I mean, crazy. They did the best they could do.
And I'll say too, man, like, so the two things I saw walking into this movie, first off, when it fucking came out, when they were showing it to test audiences and critics and stuff, and you're seeing all the hyperbole of people being like, no, it's one of the best DC fucking superhero movies ever, and they're all super excited.
I never said that.
But like people were saying that, and then there's also people that are the complete opposite, and they're like, this is a giant bag of dog shit, and that's all a lie. And there's those two camps. I will say this, as much as I feel how I feel about it, after seeing it, I can actually be like, I understand people who really like it, and I understand why they really like it. And I also understand exactly why people fucking hate it. Like, I understand both. Like, I can see watching this movie and just geeking out and just fucking loving it. And I totally get why you like it so much.
Yeah, just falling into it.
I totally get why you like it so much. I really do. And I wish I did. I
didn't give it a 10. I gave it an 8. I mean, it's not like, I liked it a lot.
No, I know.
But I'm saying, here's the thing. Mike and I, for like and it's always been controversial. And people are like, you guys are fucking stooges for the studio. We've always supported BVS and we've always supported Man of Steel. And both of those movies were divisive as fuck. And they still are among fans. People either think it's the most dog shit film ever made, Man of Steel, that it's not Superman, that it's not even remotely close to what Superman should be, and that Batman versus Superman is the most terrible, over expensive film ever in the history of superhero movies and should have died a long death. And then there are people that think it's the greatest film of all time. Mike and I don't think it's the greatest film of all time, but we think it's fucking close as far as the best representation of Superman ever. I'm not saying that Christopher Reeve is Superman, but I'm just saying in Man of Steel, that Superman is the Superman for this generation. But anyway, that's how it's always. Now, my point being, when I say that, will this movie ever have the divisiveness where it's going to be? It might. The Flash might be that kind of movie where it's going to be a very much Man of Steel type of movie where people are going to either fucking love the direction. No, I can't say that though. I can't be honest with myself and say that.
It's a different thing.
Man of Steel felt like a complete movie. So when you get a complete movie that's not rushed and it's actually told the way it's supposed to, and the vision is there, then you can have an argument about whether it sucks or not. This movie just felt like a bare bones ass movie.
There's a big difference there though. Like, and I watched Batman vs Superman the other day and just sat there going, God damn, we're lucky we fucking have this movie. Like Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, to me, I feel like those are both movies that will stand the test of time, and they stood out and they were original and they were kind of fucking punk rock in a way, whereas they didn't want to do what Marvel was doing. They wanted to have adult themes. They wanted to ask questions that nobody had ever asked about these superheroes before. And it wasn't always perfect execution for sure. To me, The Flash, on the flip side of that, is DC's version of, it's a weird fucking like bastardization of what Snyder did mixed with what Marvel was doing, and they just shoved the two together, and like there's some cool shit in it, and then there's some fucking that's corny in it.
They shoved two actresses enough. Fuck, you want to get the part? No, yeah, that's probably what it was. I mean, they obviously know that Joss Whedon's Justice League was a huge pile of Tyrannosaurus shit, and everyone hated it. I mean, generally speaking. And then when the Zack Snyder Justice League came out, they had to fucking bite their tongue because of how many people praised that. So good, so fucking different, so amazing. And so then they were like, well, okay, so what happened was we released that on HBO Max, and a lot of nerds came out and they have subscriptions, and they were like, yeah, okay, Justice League was good, Zack Snyder, but we really think the Joss Whedon thing was better. And Marvel's doing very well. So maybe you're right. Maybe we should just have them do an amalgamation, and we'll have an amalgamation type of movie, right? Okay, get lunch. Like, that's what I feel like the stupidity of their brains are at, because I would have made this movie, first off, I would have made this movie a lot darker. One, because I feel like the consequences in this movie are real, but I would have made them more impactful. Two, I would have also, and I know I was the one that was saying I was excited to see Michael Keaton back in Batman, and I am, and I was, and I think it's great. I would have actually cast Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the Thomas Wayne. I would have done the Thomas Wayne thing and had a Batman that uses guns, that shoots and kills people, like the more violent Batman. I would have Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Batman when the Flash goes back. I would have kept it closer to the Flashpoint actual story, even if you're going to cut out big swaths of it, which they did. I would have at least kept Jeffrey Dean Morgan in as Batman and a lot more violent, and made him Thomas Wayne with guns, and that Martha Wayne was now Joker. And because she went insane when she saw Bruce's body. I would have done that whole fucking, even if it was brief, I would have done that.
Dude, as a whole, I feel like that's it with this movie, is that this movie is a giant bag of Elvis dicks. And what I mean by that is Elvis is, king of rock and roll. Women lusted after him. Men wanted to be him. He was a god amongst men. But I also hear that he had a tiny wiener and came fast. So this movie is,
we relate.
It's a collection of Elvis dicks. Like, it's like, oh man, 89 Batman coming back, and in my opinion, a little bit. And then the way it was executed, and they're like, oh, Flashpoint Paradox, that's fucking amazing. And in my opinion, like the execution was blah, blah, blah. Like Flashpoint Paradox could be the greatest superhero saga as all time. Like you said, it should be 3 movies.
I think so.
That should be 3. If it wasn't Ezra Miller, I don't want to see him in 3 fucking movies. But like. No. The Flashpoint Paradox itself is one of the coolest superhero stories, and really if you guys haven't seen it, if you want to see like how cool
the animated one
this story was actually supposed to be, watch. If you don't read comics, and I've read the comic too, but like watch the animated DC film. fucking awesome. And I think that had Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, if I'm not mistaken.
Did, no, yeah. But dude, by the way,
this is the Elvis Dick version of that.
The Batman that you have in the actual Flashpoint story, god damn, dude, he's so cool. He's got like dual ass pistols, and he's like Clint Eastwood, and he's like the Punisher. Like, he's Batman that says, fuck it, I don't give a shit. I had a 5-hour energy drink and I'm ready to fuck you up. Like, that's and like, dude, oh my god, the Flashpoint comic, the story is so much better than what you get here. And again, it just makes me wonder. I wish I could go back in time. First off, I'd slap Ezra Miller and he'd never be the Flash. But I wish I could go back in time and like
quit breaking the law, asshole.
Yeah, where Zack Snyder never got fucking fired, and we could have that full vision.
Yeah,
because I feel like all of this, like what you get here, is this tiny Salt King sprinkle of Zack Snyder. You can feel the Salt King's sprinkle. And he's like,
did you see the way that they did those zoom ins on the action sequences? That was straight up Snyder.
I feel like he probably planned this well in advance when he was like making Justice League. He's like, oh, I got this whole crazy idea.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, and it goes, I got this bare bones idea, right? Like, I got a very brief idea of what I want to do with the Flash. That's why I'm going to have the Flash come back in time and warn Bruce about Clark. But I've got this whole Flashpoint thing that's going to be crazy. God damn it! Like, see, the more you think about it, the more you wish you had some fucking goddamn DeLorean juice so you could go back in time and fix shit. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not gonna.
I'd like to go back and fix
kill the
DC
movie, kill the fucking the heads of office. But no, I mean,
dude, I forgot the fucking ticker. Welcome to Ticker, ladies and gentlemen. We're professionals.
I gotta go pee.
Yeah, go. You go first.
Right.
You go first. You said it. You won the lottery, and I'm just gonna think about sucking your pee-pee while you're in there.
All right. Have you guys ever seen or been in a male bathroom that has a trough? Yes, we have in elementary school. Remember in Central, that was literally when we were like first through fifth grade. We had there was literally a trough.
That's how I know
gather
what it's
around
like.
and pee.
That's how I know what it's like. It's a communal situation. It's
Isn't that weird? Do they still do that in elementary school? That they
I fucking hope not. Like, bars is
that
one
was so
thing,
weird. That was so. It was like very like child labor worker force like bathrums. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
like,
it should upset people more than it
maybe
does.
It was because kids are just like not aiming well and they just pee all over the floor, and that's why they have it.
No, it's just being cheap. It's just being cheap.
They literally, if you guys don't know, I mean, some of you got girls that never went into the boys' bathroom in first through fifth grade in our school. They literally had it was a pig trough, and you all gathered around it and pissed in it.
Yeah, and then sometimes in bars you still find those, or like sporting events.
Well, that's different. When you're drunk, you're like, "Hey, what's going on? Your dick's hard, huh?"
That's true. Yeah, you don't care as much.
Drinking some Bud Light, are you?
You don't care quite the same. I'll get to some of your super chats while Jay touches his wiener, and we all think about him touching his wiener. That's what I like to do to fall asleep at night. It puts me at ease, heightens my sense of security. Michael Parton says, did you guys see the trailer for Kraven the Hunter? Dude, I saw that came out when I got home from seeing the movie, and I'm like, after watching this fucking, like, having superhero multiverses fucking crammed down my gullet hole for 3 fucking hours, I just couldn't do it. So I did not see it. I don't imagine it's good. Just being honest with you. Sony's like, let's make all of our bad guys good guys, because all we own is fucking bad guys. I'm a corporate puppet, but that's what that kind of felt like to me. So I didn't see it, but I will. Hopefully it's good. Fuck me in the ass with a spoon. Who knows, man? Who knows? Jesus Christ, we're in the dark times of superhero shit. We really are. Dan Murphy. Hey, buddy. He says, hopefully my super chat won't make your dogs fight again, Mike. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that, but in the last stream, mid super chat, dogs started fighting. Everybody started calling me White Michael Vick. Not a good thing you want. Like, if you start a YouTube channel and you have a live stream, being called White Michael Vick it's not what you want. It's not where you want your channel direction to go, you know? Definitely not. Hopefully my super chat won't make your dogs fight again, Mike. The first and third acts really worked for me, but the second act, I could not stand Barry. Humor felt very PG. The CGI reminded me of PS2 graphics. Yes. Honest to God, like, fucking almost towards the end of the movie, I was sitting there going, you know, I don't fucking really mind the CG in this movie. And I hate fucking CG. I fucking hate it. Like, the kids are like, God, that old fucking boomer or whatever I am is going off again about CG. But I was like, actually, it's not been that bad up to this point. But yeah, when you get to the end of the movie and they start doing the cameos, they were just like, God damn it, I'm tired, Teresa. I'm fucking tired. Can we just slap the shit out and people will fucking eat it up like rice cakes? Nobody likes rice cakes. That was a terrible analogy. My point is this. If you're hungry enough, you'll eat anything, even a dick. And that doesn't make you gay. But if you are gay, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful thing, honestly. Maybe your partner likes sports and you can talk about that. Not a lot of dudes can talk about sports with their wives while inside of their, and he says, but I agree with you, man. I got so sick of the Ezra stuff, and midway through, I was like, at first I was like, this is going to be a fun superhero movie and all that shit could be forgotten about for a little bit. The second act, I was like, oh, you're just going to fist us with the Ezra stuff. And, you know, I tried to like it. I really did. I tried to say, hey, Mike, you enjoy this movie because you paid for it. Just because you can't stand the person on screen, because the fact that they like to beat women shouldn't take away from your enjoyment of watching a film. And I try to tell myself that. And that's what I whispered in my kids' ears as they ate their Sour Patch Kids. You know, that guy is on film beating women, but try to enjoy the film anyway, kids. I didn't do that. But if I had, that would have been a mistake. But yeah, I was just like, oh, it felt so over the top. And so like, oh, I'm fucking, the Babe in the Woods superhero act is cool for like the origin story, but they have never graduated beyond that. It still feels like the same character who was like, I just run up and push people. Like it even when they're like, okay, the only person you can actually be in charge of is a stupider version of yourself. And that was basically this movie. Like the only person who would actually look up to this character is a dumbass version of this character. And that's what the fucking Flash was to me, that entire second act. And then the third act, I was like, half of me was like, I love watching Michael Keaton kick ass. And the other half of me was like, I'm watching a computer version of Michael Keaton kick ass. I'm not seeing the real fucking thing. This is a fugazi, you know? It's a fugazi. It's fucking pixie dust. That's what it felt like for me. So while I did enjoy it and I let the consumer in me rape everything I felt holy about when it comes to Keaton as Batman, and I made myself partly enjoy it. The other half of me was going, this is fucking dog shit version of something that was beautiful. And I'm making myself like the movie less the more I talk. But that's just me, man. That's just me. That's just how my fucked up brain works. Couldn't get past it from time to time. Michael Parton says, the VFX reminded me of something similar to what Robert Zemeckis would make in his animated films and a PS2 video game, and I found it a bit cringy. Sometimes, and it's a weird place, because like there were some times with the CG and the VFX that I was like, it's broken, but I like it. Like I just watched fucking Ant-Man Quantumania for some stupid reason. And I was just like, the CG's fine, but goddamn, do I give a fuck? No, I fucking don't. I saw this fucking 70 goddamn years ago in fucking Star Wars. They did it better. But like the same thing with this where it was a little bit broken and a little bit wonky. I was actually like, I'm kind of enjoying like that. It's at least different. It's at least fucking different than the 79,000 fucking bullshit CG horror movies I've seen the past 2 weeks. So I did enjoy I actually enjoyed the brokenness of it a little bit until they got to the cameos. And then it was like, okay, you should put more fucking work into that.
Dude, I totally forgot. Dude, I actually,
I'm gay.
Yeah, loving dicks. But I remember this one particular part, and I actually did laugh out loud, dude. I don't know why, because it reminded me of the first time that you got a Michael Myers mask. Like when they were first released, like back, like really like in the early 2000s, late 90s, mid 90s. When Ezra Miller was getting ready to drop from the bat plane, and the young Ezra Miller had made his own suit out of the old Batman suit, and he looks over and he's like, and the mask is all stretched on his face. I laughed my ass off, dude, because I was like, I know what that feeling is, because you think it looks so cool, and then it doesn't fit right, and the eye holes is all up here. that was funny. I was like, because you can hear the fucking rubber go, and he's like, yeah, I look good. And then there's also that part where he was like, and I was like, dude, like that was like such a like a bell of remembrance for me. He was like, I know that sex exists, but I've never had it.
That was a good joke. That was a good joke.
Yes. Yeah.
But that line got me that too, when he was like,
because I you know why I laughed so much, because again, you guys know what it was like back. Well, I mean, because this is a horror channel, but you like if you got your first Halloween mask, I'm talking about well before the cool masks that they have out now, but like when they were like very cheap ass fucking shit, and you get them down at Gatlinburg or something at a gift shop, and then you like walk around with you like, man, I look cool as shit, and then you look, it's like, hey man, what's up? And it'd be like, yeah. And your eye would like the eye hole would be up here on your forehead.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as fuck.
That made me laugh. It did. We are at 8:19 p.m. on the super chats. Our buddy Air Conditioning Vent is the next one. And you're not far from us, my friend. Our buddy got sent there one time. He's like, I'm going to Owensboro. And he came back. I'll just put this one up and then you can grab the next one from there. He came back. His dad took him to Owensboro and he came back wearing fucking shit kickers and a cowboy hat and belt. And we were like, what happened? He was like, I've just been in Owensboro.
He got inducted into the Proud Boys.
Motherfucker left wearing Dickies and like, Hurley t-shirts and came back full on fucking John Deere outfit. We're like,
apparently all they play up in Owensboro is goddamn John Michael Montgomery.
And there's nothing wrong with it. But
I've actually grown over the years to appreciate some country music. I mean, I don't like jam it out or anything. I don't have it on my playlist, but now and again, when I'm fucking like feeling like shit, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I feel like shit. I want someone to share it with.
Deserves musical respect. I don't know about what they do today.
Chris, that's pretty good.
You find it?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back. My PP hurts. See y'all soon.
I'll see you soon. Okay. We got Michael Parton coming in. Hot. Says, I wish we got to see Keaton in the OG Batmobile. Yeah, that's true. I actually thought at one point they were going to do that. I don't know what. They could have done anything with that. They could have had him like, I got to go get toothbrushes. I don't know. And he would have got into the Batmobile and something. But yeah, we didn't. You never get to see the Batmobile in action at all, which is kind of stupid. So it was very much to the point of Mike was like, oh, it was like a museum of coolest cars in cinema history. You just see it and it doesn't really do anything. But I feel like there was so much more that they wanted to do with the film. And by showing that particular car, I feel like they wanted to do a lot more with it. And they just never got a chance to. But 100%, it would have been amazing to see that. He wasn't. Yeah. I was just trying to think, making sure that Michael again says, personally, I still think Man of Steel is a far more superior film. I also felt like it wasn't exactly the Days of Future Past that I was hoping for. I agree. I feel, again, it goes back to the bare bones nature of the film itself overall. While it's a fun, easygoing kind of film for me anyway, that you can sit back and watch and relax and have a good time enjoying the film, but it's not exactly any kind of groundbreaking stuff, and it definitely doesn't even hold a candle to the original Flashpoint storyline or Man of Steel. But I definitely feel you on the Days of Future Past. I feel like they could have done something really amazing with this film if they'd wanted to. Colton Candler comes, sup dudes? The Flash was definitely a ride. I've never felt so what the fuck after a movie. It's true. It has a lot of issues for sure, but also had a lot of cool things as well. I agree. I think I'm in the same boat. When I left the theater, it was kind of like, shit, I overpaid for that hooker, but at least I had a good time. But I mean, no, it wasn't like that at all. It was like, hey, I had a good time, but it wasn't the greatest thing of all time. But I agree with you, Colton. I do. Michael says again, they could bring back Keaton for Batman Beyond. Well, that is a possibility. I think there was rumors about that, and that would be great. I think that Michael Keaton would be extremely suited for that role, and I would love to see that. But now that they've killed him off, and they were talking about the whole idea of the time thing being a nexus of reality, and fate. Does that mean that he's dead forever? I don't know. I mean, he could exist, I guess. It's time travel and it's parallel universes. They could do whatever. But yeah, I would love to see him in Batman Beyond. I think that would be a really cool idea. And again, I think it works. I think it works really well. I think someone had mentioned before, I had read somewhere that Christian Bale, but fuck that shit. I don't want an asthmatic Batman with bronchitis internally to fucking be, giving out orders to the new. I just don't want it. Armani Martinez says the movie proves Zach gets DC cinematically. Yes, it does. Well, dude, yes. I mean, I think that I feel personally the extended cut of Justice League proves forever that Zack Snyder knew exactly what to do with DC and how to set it apart from Marvel. And then DC was like, that's not good enough. Fuck that. Okay, I'd rather just go and have tumbleweeds go up my anus hole than listen to Zack Snyder, and that's what happened, unfortunately. And Zack Snyder, I never got what people hate him for. It just seems like there's like, not everybody, but it just feels like in the world of Hollywood, people don't like Zack Snyder, and I don't get what he's never done anything. He's never been in trouble for, as far as I know. He suffered a tragedy, which was unfortunate, and he bounced back from that. And he's an amazing guy with vision and cinematic expertise, and it's just like, oh, Jesus Christ, I don't know why you wouldn't want that guy in charge of your universe, but whatever. Michael Parton says, I was so happy to see George Clooney. Yes, dude, I forgot. Well, that was the big thing right there. We didn't mention that cameo at the very end of the film. when the Flash resets everything in the universe, he's talking to Bruce Wayne on the phone, and he's kind of, whatever, how you doing, whatever. And then he's like, all right. And then Bruce Wayne's like, I'm almost there. And he pulls up, and George Clooney gets out of the car. And then Ezra Miller's like, who the fuck is that? It was cool to see him. I thought it was really fucking funny. Because obviously George Clooney is a part of one of the worst Batman films of all time, Batman and Robin. And that movie does not get better with age. That's an old ass hemorrhoid that you remember. And you're like, God, I remember how painful that was. But yeah, it's not. He was a good Bruce Wayne. Yeah, anyway. But yeah, it was funny. It was good to see old George. Michael again. Michael says, I was one of the DC fans that signed a petition to fire, recast Ezra Miller, as well as possibly cancel the movie. That just shows how passionate I am. Yeah, man. I would have been fine if. And you know what? To be honest, that might have been a better idea. I know that they had a lot of work already put into the film when Ezra started acting like an asshole. And doing, smacking hoes around and saying my song's better at karaoke than yours and just being a complete bitch. I would have been, smart as far as a business move goes. I would have just been like, I know it's going to suck and I know we're going to take a financial loss here. Let's scrap the movie, restart the whole film and recast the Flash and go from there. Or at least cut down Ezra's time and then I don't know, re-engineer the script where Ezra dies, or the character of Ezra dies in the film, 40 minutes, and then you have a new Flash. I don't know. There's a lot of things they could have done, but I think they were just scared of backlash. Who the fuck knows? It's fucking Hollywood, dude. I'm at Gary. I just got to Gary. He's at 8:55.
Fucking Gary, that son of a bitch. I'm trying to find you. I'm coming for you, Gary.
Yeah, Michael Parton coming in hot with that support tonight. He said he actually was one of the few that signed a petition to replace Ezra Miller and scrap the film, and that just shows how passionate he is. And I'm like, to be honest with you, at this point, I think they could have done that. I mean, they would have suffered a huge financial hit, but who the fuck cares? I mean, especially if they could have maybe done something to interlap that with the new James Gunn vision. Why not just fucking do it?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Whatever the fuck you could have a goddamn hot dog or a $200 steak on the table, and Warner Brothers would go, I'll have the hot dog, please, wet and uncooked. Gary said, did you already read this one or
no? I just
okay. Fast 7 and The Flash was playing tribute to dead actors. Wakanda Forever killed T'Challa and marketed the movie on that, and they profit on Chadwick's death. The way they should have just recast. That's tough.
Well, that goes back to that I think what he's talking about was the article that was bitching about them using dead actors with CGI. And how ridiculous that sounds. And I don't know if they were just bashing on DC or Warner Brothers for that, but you're absolutely right. I agree. I feel like Black Panther is an amazing character. I think he's an awesome character, to be honest with you. He's one of the core members of the Avengers. And while Chadwick Boseman was an amazing T'Challa, I don't know why I don't know when he died. I can't remember when he died, and then Black Panther 2 came out. But they could have. I think that I would have much rather seen a recast of T'Challa in a Black Panther role. It's fucking Black Panther, and rather than having his sister take up the fucking role. I'm sorry. I don't want that. I don't give a shit about that. Like, make their own fucking series where she becomes whatever, Black Pantheress. I don't know. Give me a Black Panther 2. And T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman goes hand in hand. But let's be honest with ourselves, guys. Those are major characters, just like Superman. When Christopher Reeve passed away, it's not like they said we're going to stop doing Superman films, right? I mean, they cast Brandon Routh first, and then they cast Henry Cavill. That's just the way it works. And at some point in the future, Marvel's going to recast Iron Man and Captain America. It's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know at this point, man, and it ties hand in hand with everything we're talking about with the fan service, the constant fan service and stuff that's going on. Like, it feels like there almost should be two universes at this point. Like, one that's going to do everything fans want and do what they did with in Doctor Strange, where like they give us the Reed Richards casting of John Krasinski, and they do all
but then
this.
They shit on it.
Right, but like do all this stuff that like they're listening, they're doing they are playing on the nostalgia of people, and sometimes that works out well, right? But like there's a whole nother side of that argument that's like, man, like we're the fans, like show what sometimes. I mean, nobody wanted Michael Keaton as Batman at first. Like nobody wanted Heath Ledger as the Joker. Yeah. There's a reason why at some point, at least, maybe not now with Warner Brothers, these people know what they're fucking doing, and it should be about the art, not about, they shouldn't build it from the ground up based on what they hope the audience response is going to be. You should have artists tell fucking stories and original stories. And like, I think that's just been lost. And I feel like that is why superhero fatigue is at an all-time high, because you can walk into a movie and you know exactly what to fucking expect. Even if it's a cameo, we'll just do this cameo. Now, if they went back and they said, we're going to make a fucking Nick Cage superhero movie and we're actually going to do what Tim Burton's original version was, okay. But instead,
but like, you got to have Tim Burton in the driver's seat and he has all creative control.
Right, but instead they're just like, we'll just throw it to him for 10 seconds. We'll turn Reed Richards into fucking spaghetti. You know, like it just feels so false and fake, and it doesn't feel like we're watching someone's art. It feels like we're participating in it, and all the magic is gone at that point.
Well, I think that a lot of companies and corporations have learned the hard. If you don't listen to your fucking base, a lot of bad things can happen. It's not that hard. If I were in charge of a corporation or a business or whatever, and my customers weren't getting what they fucking want, and then I was seeing that when my fucking sales dropped or whatever the fuck, and it's not just about Bud Light, it's not about Target, I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about as a very strict business. If you are catering to a particular demographic as far as people go, is like, you know, your base audience, right? Superhero films, they know their base audience, they know what they want, and then they decide that they were like, but we know better than you. I don't know who the fuck they hired, who their marketing managers are, or who their marketing research are, but obviously these motherfuckers are like high as fuck, and they think that, well, no, they want this. Obviously they don't. And as a CEO of the company, that's your company, you're responsible. How fucking dumb are you? Like, I can't stand it, dude. They just right, the whole thing with T'Challa and Black Panther. I think Black Panther's a great fucking character, and again, Chadwick Boseman's passing was terrible. It was awful. But at the same time, that character itself, he will be remembered, but they should have recasted the fucking character and made Black Panther 2. I'm sorry. That's just the way that it works. I mean, that's the way that it should have been, because fans wanted to see Black Panther. And by all means, go out and get the best fucking guy you can get for it. Don't hold back. Get the best actor that you can get. But you can give us a new actor. I mean, holy shit, dude.
I want to see fucking art. I want to see storytelling. I don't want to be fucking pandered to. You know what I mean?
Nobody
like I don't.
Does.
And that's what.
Yeah, and another way, that goes to anybody. That goes to any group whatsoever. When you pander to a particular group or a minority group, you insult them. You slap them in the fucking face. That looks stupid to you. Or that
if it's not done with.
If you're just doing it for goddamn ESG points, you're a piece of shit. ESG is the fucking worst thing that ever happened.
What is ESG?
It stands for, I can't remember the. It's basically like how, you know how you have like your carbon
egregious
footprint?
Sex goblins.
Yeah, that's pretty much what they are.
That sounds hot.
But you know how like they have your carbon footprint on things, like they measure your car. They measure about how many minorities, how many, does it check all the boxes? Does it check all the boxes? And then they give you an ESG rating based on whether or not you hit all these boxes. So companies are scared of the ESG and they don't want their rating to drop below. So this is what's happened in today's world. It's fucking stupid. Now they're saying to you, we can't make a good movie. We don't want to make a good movie. We just want to make sure these boxes are checked for the ESG to give us a fucking nice little ass fuck. And that's what they're doing.
I think there's parallels. There's definitely parallels between those two things. I'm thinking more like fan service. Like, we demand that you cast this person, and you know that we'll jizz our pants if you show us Christopher Reeve and like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely parallels to both of them. Christopher Sampson, fly me to the moon like that bitch Alex Crampson. Ooh. Sorry, dude. Chris, if you don't know, by the way, every time you super chat, and by the way, you're always super sweet with the super chats. We really appreciate it. If you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about every time you super chat when I do that, it's from Half Baked.
Everybody knows Half Baked. Everybody know
Jimmy Jolly. Says, hey dudes, had to jump in the chat. I'm at work for another half hour. My favorite major character deaths are Sonny Corleone, Leon the Professional, Tony Montana, Tommy from Goodfellas, and Braveheart. What are your top 50?
Yeah, we'll just pump those out real quick. Rapid fire.
People do ask questions like that sometimes.
Hey, Chris, that would be a great video to do. Actually, not 50. There's no way a 50 would be like 5 hours long, but maybe do the top fun. 20. Top 20 best deaths in cinema, according to us. That's
hard
a
to research,
idea.
fun to
Chris,
talk
you
about.
ain't getting paid. But thank you for suggesting it. But no, man, that's a great idea. But I mean, Braveheart is a classic. But dude, yeah, dude, God, there's so many good ones though. Like it's always, for me, it's always the hero's end. It's always the guy that makes the ultimate sacrifice. you to be honest, like one of them that's up there. I'll just say this: I don't want to ruin the potential video that Mike and I have because I'm not going to give everything away. Okay, well, I'm not going to show the whole leg, just a little bit. Is the actual the Tony Stark death in
Damn it,
in
that's
Endgame.
what I was going to fucking say.
Well, just because it goes back to Avengers when he's like, you're not the guy that's going to lay on the wire and let the other guy crawl on top of you, like because all the stuff that he's like, you're not the guy to make the ultimate sacrifice, and then he ultimately is the guy. I mean, that was just a powerful. I mean, there's obviously Mickey from Rocky 3. I mean, there's a fuck ton that really affected you, but
Apollo Creed, from that one too. That's
Apollo
a good one
Creed
too.
and Rocky, yeah,
and
that's
then
a good one.
I won't say favorite because I actually think it was a mistake with Dewey, obviously. But no, Iron Man was going to be my number one. That was like one of my like beautiful movie deaths, like the way that they sent him off. What a great fucking.
That's a great idea, Chris. Holy shit,
God
that's so
damn.
good.
That's
God,
I don't even know how
we're
you
gonna have to
research
hire you,
that.
man. We're gonna have to
that's
hire
fun.
you. But yeah, but you're just gonna be the idea guy. Hey, just come up with good ideas because our videos suck, and you've obviously got the good golden nuggets.
I totally agree with. I definitely agree on Sonny Corleone because it was a shock and it totally changed the periph of the rest of the movie. You know what I mean? And
Braveheart, dude. I mean, when he screams freedom at the end, I didn't expect him to die. That was one of the first few movies I remember watching when I was a kid. And like he was the hero, like, and I didn't know anything about William Wallace. I had no idea about the history of William Wallace or anything about anything. And I think that was during the dial-up age on the internet, so it took forever even to get on the internet. So I didn't go on the internet to look up William Wallace, and I watched it. And when he screams freedom, I'm like, holy shit! And that's why for years I was like, dude, if Captain America were made during that time, Mel Gibson would have been the perfect fucking Captain America.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the ice blue eyes, the determination, the soldier type of like mentality that he had, that I care about the soldiers and I'll give my life for them. Tell me Mel Gibson wouldn't have been the guy.
He technically didn't die, but Henry Cavill in Batman versus Superman.
He did. Well, yeah, he did die technically. Well, he died technically in the movie.
Right. And they brought him back, but like, especially in the comic books. But also Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon 2, he doesn't die, but you think he's going to die, and he lights up a cigarette, and like that shit. That was always like, these things will kill you. That's a great question. That's a fucking amazing.
That's a whole video right there, Chris. Thanks,
I'm failing. My brain is failing me because I have so many fucking
there's
things.
One, no, dude. It might crack my top 20, but Qui-Gon Jinn dying in episode 1 of Star Wars.
Heroin Bob from SLC Punk is one of my favorites too. Sorry, that just popped in my head.
No, that's a good one too. Well, Qui-Gon Jinn though. I knew because you never, as a fan of Star Wars, you never knew who Qui-Gon Jinn was, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi's master, but that he died like that. I don't know. That was fucking good too.
That's an amazing question, dude. Thank you for your super chat. Thank you for an awesome question.
We're all gonna have to like get around with incense and like drink a lot of alcohol and smoke cigarettes when we have to do that list.
That's gonna be a cry stream. David Nangle III, thanks, buddy. Says, curious if you guys ever found out who played the Shape in the DJ kill. If it was the Corey actor, that would be impressive. Armstrong is still top tier. That's a really good question. If you guys remember in the kill of the DJ in Halloween Ends, Michael fucking waddles by the goddamn window and then pops in, and they don't show him killing Diana or Darcy from the Joe Bob show, but then he fucking bangs his head on the desk, cuts off his tongue, it flops on the goddamn CD and starts skipping the track. I think it's supposed to be Corey, but I don't know if that's Corey Cunningham. All I know is that Aaron Armstrong, despite his reluctance to ever answer my DMs and come on the show, was one of the best iterations of the Shape I've ever fucking seen.
You mean the flashback sequence in Halloween Kills?
Yeah, and he was one.
I would love to talk to that guy. That guy was awesome.
Yeah, he was one of the most underrated, best Michael Myers I've ever seen.
Really good.
So I'm gonna guess that was Corey or another stunt actor. It didn't have the same movements, in my opinion, as Aaron Armstrong, but I could be wrong about that. Fucking great question though.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing fruit. Those are. By
the way, thank you guys for showing up for this stream tonight. I know it's not our usual partay because we normally do horror movies, but thank you guys that are showing up and hanging out tonight, because I was like, superheroes, what a bunch of fucking gaggle of nerds and geeks. I'm not gonna go into that chat. I bet they're gonna talk about World of Warcraft tomorrow.
A lot of fucking poo-tang in here, man. No, I agree, man. Thank you guys for showing up to talk about this shit, especially with one movie, but I feel like there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to dissect.
Austin says, film facts. Joe Johnston wanted to do a sequel to his 2010 remake of The Wolfman with a now cursed Inspector Aberline using his new werewolf abilities to hunt down Jack the Ripper in 1990s America.
That's not bad. I mean, well, yeah, that sounds kind of cool, but I mean, it sound like something that would be on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I never saw the movie, so
You never saw
I
that
can't
movie?
say
Oh my god,
shit.
you got to watch
No.
that. That's so corny. It's almost fun, but then you realize how shitty it is. But yeah, like that just that feels like something that would be out of like, we've got to find this guy. He's gonna go hunt down Jack the Ripper, or he hunted down Jack the Ripper, and he's part of our Avengers team, which is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's pretty much, by the way, if you've not seen the movie, that's what it is. Sean Connery's in it, which is the best part.
Sean Connery's birthday.
Sean Connery's birthday, but yeah, he's the main guy in it. If you guys don't know, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, oh god, the graphic novel is so much better. But in a basic sense, that's the earliest Avengers. Like, they take all these, like Captain Nimoy, Jekyll and Hyde, a vampire that was bitten by Dracula. All this, they form a team to fight a greater evil. Essentially, that's what it is.
That's what it's like when you make a woman come.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going.
Yeah, that's called a gangbang if you combine forces with other people.
I haven't seen the movie, so that's all I have to add to the conversation. I apologize. David Nangle says, the most underrated Myers kill. Mine is the strip club H2 scene where he snaps the dude's forearm and keeps slamming the stripper's face into the glass wall. That was gnarly. As far
underrated?
Yeah, I feel like there's so much to go into. We're not going to give a proper answer here, but
I can only give you one that, but I only say it's not. No, I can't say it's underrated because they don't show it. But I do think one of the most gnarly scenes is the original Halloween 2 when the motherfucker had all his blood drained, and when they come in,
the nurse slips on it.
Yeah, and all of his blood was literally drained, and like Michael was feeling like moody. That particular kill, he was like, I fucking hate hospitals and needles. I'm gonna drain all your blood. I'm not even gonna stab you. I'm just gonna fucking drain all your blood.
I'll say and there's a better answer for this. I just can't think of all of them off the top of my head. I will say Dee Wallace in Rob Zombie's Halloween. It wasn't a violent kill, but it actually added some weight to the movie because she was such a sweet mom and she was such a nice lady, and she was just on the porch talking about vacation with her husband, and then is inside, and you felt so bad for her.
Felt like an IRS audit. So quick.
It made you sick to your stomach, and it actually added some weight to the movie because you just really felt bad for her when she died during that scene, and I think it added something to the movie.
Now that I thought about it, now I'm gonna throw in one. When he kills the stepfather in Halloween 6. And electrocuting his ass.
Oh, John, yeah,
that was so fucking vicious and mean. And
his head exploded.
And he stabs. He stabs on either side of his neck like he's fucking Frankenstein, and his head bursts like a gusher. I thought that shit. Well, at least in the unrated version, I was like, that shit was violent. That shit was hardcore, and it's no wonder they had to like censor that shit for the theater version.
Yeah,
because it was fucking gnarly.
Joe Bob says, I saw someone say like Happy Father's Day to everybody except for this fucking asshole. it was that guy. One of the worst movies
I don't have kids either.
So that's it, Deborah. Keep slipping her the cash.
Yeah.
But Joe Bob said they said the first flash cut was 4 hours long. I read that, but to his credit, Andy Machata said he was like, yes, he was like, there is a 4 hour cut of the movie. He was like, but let me be clear, the best version of the movie is what came out. Like, it's what came out.
There's going to be, they might release the 4 hour version.
He knew, though. He fucking knew. He's like, I don't want to start up the goddamn Restore the Snyderverse people again. Like, the best version's what you got. Yeah, but there's a 4 hour movie.
But Warner Brothers are those crack whores around Las Vegas casinos that are just scrambling for extra coins that people leave on the ground. So if they're like, hey, if there's a chance for us to make money on an extra 4 hour cut, we'll release it.
Or the fucking like the Schumacher cut or the Suicide cut.
I actually would love the Schumacher cut. Never did come out.
No, and the David Ayer cut. I guess Kevin Smith's seen it, but yeah, I think that dude, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, let me just say for a second, these fucking movies do not need to be this fucking long. Like, I cannot remember maybe the last fucking Martin Scorsese movie I saw. Maybe. Like, if you're not making a fucking Martin Scorsese goddamn mafia epic, or Zack Snyder's Justice League, which spans all these characters and all this crazy shit. Like, these movies do not need to be this fucking long. Why the fuck is a Spider-Man cartoon 2.5 hours long?
Was that how long it was?
Yes. Why the fuck is the Flash movie 2.5 hours long? Well, it's a very simple fucking story, man.
Because there's so much going on. I mean, the Flashpoint is like, I mean, because if you take out certain aspects of that story, you lose the whole story. You have to put it in.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, I in a fucking half a day, I could cut the Flash movie I just watched to fucking hour and 50
No, I'm
minutes.
saying you can
No
cut out
stop.
jokes, but as far as the actual the main plot of that story, it's a lot. There's a lot going. When you deal with time travel movies, like you're going to be. By the way, but they did it.
Did
great.
you not understand when you walked in though that like the whole situation with his mom and his dad? They
No, I knew.
told a story they'd already fucking told us. Just cut out the middle of the fucking movie.
I feel like there's a lot of things with the jokes and the extra. I feel like the Iris West thing was unneeded. It really didn't even come up. Like the Iris West thing literally did come up. His being bullied by his coworkers literally never came up again. By the way, the other thing I will say, because Mike didn't watch it, I meant to say this and I forgot. The only extra, okay, so the extra scene after the credits. Okay, so all that happened is that Ezra Miller is leading a drunk Aquaman out of the bar, Jason Momoa, and they're like hanging, and he's trying to explain to him that he's Aquaman, and like you're Aquaman, you're not like this drunk asshole that you're hanging around a karaoke bar. And he's like, yeah, cool, man, whatever. And they're just a drunken mess. And he's like, my apartment's right there. That's literally the ending of that.
So it's a fucking ad for Aquaman 2.
Maybe, yeah, and I think so, and I feel like it was a leftover after credit scene for Aquaman 2, and that's why they have it in the movie. But somebody, and again, you guys got to watch these articles. Sometimes that pop up. They're like, "Why? If you look closer, it actually spells like the layout of James Gunn new universe." No. Jason Momoa, I don't even know if he's going to be in James Gunn universe.
They're begging people to watch Aquaman 2.
That's it. But he might be. But here's the thing: the reason why that exists is because at the end of the movie of this particular movie, Ezra Miller as the Flash sees George Clooney as Batman, not Ben Affleck. So things have changed. Obviously, he's not set everything right, and Jason Momoa's Aquaman is still a drunk. So he finds him. He's like trying to get him on the path of being Aquaman. At least he exists in this universe. And that's all. That's literally them just stumbling along like two drunk assholes, leaving the karaoke bar, wondering if they're going to get Taco Bell, like Mike and I have done several times. But as far as if it sets up the James Gunn universe, or if it does anything remotely to pepper in some James Gunn stuff for what he's going to do, no. And I don't know. I read an article that was like, if you look closer, that's not true at all. There's nothing. You don't have to stay and watch this unless you really like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. There's some of that.
Unbelievable. I cannot believe. Like, yeah, it's like, Jesus Christ, you guys are gonna give us 2 fucking half-hour movie, and then you're gonna make us sit through 10 minutes of fucking credits.
Yeah, dude, by the way,
to show us
literally
some dumb shit.
They make you sit through every single credit. At least Marvel will only give you the first half of it, and then they'll show you the after credit.
It's so fucking tired. The entire superhero thing is so fucking exhausted. I'm telling you, man, we're getting so in 5 fucking years, people may not go see any goddamn thing. They could be like, hey, it's fucking X-Men.
Well, no, we like
sucking Cyclops.
We like Secret Invasion.
Right, but it's because it's different, and I don't like it enough to go to the theater and see that. I'm
going to be interested when Marvel when they're going to do a Fantastic Four or an X-Men. I'm going to see what they do.
They're going to have to. There's going to be there's a new hierarchy in the DC universe. There's going to be a time where they really need to do some new shit to fucking pull people in. It's getting so tired, and I think the box office for this movie fucking proves that.
You know who's begging to be a part of the James? And I do feel bad for him, but that guy needs to seek some fucking help. I don't know. Like, I saw his breakdown. Zachary Levi, he's begging to be a part of the James Gunn universe. And at the end of Fury of the Gods, they actually have Zachary Levi's Shazam character meet a few of the members of the Peacemaker squad. So it's almost like James Gunn was like, yeah, maybe I got you. Maybe you'll come back and be Captain Marvel in my universe, but we'll see. And then Zachary Levi was blaming The Rock on the failure of Shazam. I'm like, dude, it's just like, I understand, like, you have to get paid and this is your livelihood, but at the same time, move the fuck on. If it's like you were literally unfortunate enough to be a part of a dying creative idea and vision of the Zack, and that sucks to say, the creative dying vision of Zack Snyder of Shazam. And if James Gunn takes pity on you, as far as like, you're not bad. I mean, you're not bad. I'll figure out how to put you in my universe. I mean, good for you. But at the same time, don't go on Twitter and rage and bitch at The Rock for ruining you because he didn't want to show up at the end of your movie and he didn't want you in the end of his. At least The Rock. I will say this for The Rock. at least we got to see Henry Cavill in the Superman uniform one more fucking time in his bonus scene. So
yeah. I think it's dying breed, man. I think we're headed down a fucking road. I just think we're headed down a fucking road, and people are holding on to this, like, oh, but I fucking remember when so and so was making so much, and everybody fucking. And I remember Endgame, and like I remember all this shit, and they're holding on to it with dying hope. Like I got cast in this, so it has to be great. And I'm telling you, man, Hollywood's gonna be the last to fucking know when
they always are.
People just get tired of this shit.
They always are, because you're not coming out with any innovative stories. You're not coming out with anything that people want to see. You're just coming out with the same old cookie cutter bullshit, and that you think that worked like 5 years ago is still going to work, or 10 years ago, and it doesn't. And people are getting tired of seeing the same old, same old. This is, by the way, this is the fucking time for Todd McFarlane to strike with Spawn. Give us something draw. Give us something new. Give us something like gritty and edgy. Give us the Crow reinvigorated through something like through Spawn with Todd McFarlane at the helm. God damn it. I would love to see Spawn, a horror movie / superhero movie, coming out in this gritty fucking crazy ass way next year. Holy shit. This is the time. Those are the independent creators and the filmmakers I want to see. That.
I have to jump ahead just a bit because something just popped into my periph. I'm hearing it now, Deborah. Deborah says that we have a fucking
sexual harassment lawsuit being filed against you.
Oh no, I feel like Justin Long and Barbarian. I did not. No, I'm hearing now. Fucking motherfucking John Winston made an appearance, and when John Winston shows up, he shows up with shit like fucking this, dude. John goddamn Winston. Oh fuck, my finger didn't work right. I didn't do it right. Fucking shit. Fucking not. I gotta fucking do it. I sound like Ezra Miller, actually.
Shut up!
Shut up! John Winston with a fucking gargantuan from space. Fucking crazy, super man. Chat. Thank you, dude. Thank you, man. Seriously, that's fucking insane what you do, and we really appreciate it. He said, play the best song in the world, or I'll eat your soul. He says, caught the last stream on playback, heard you say Ezra Miller, showed up looking like Erykah Badu. He did, dude. When he walked the red carpet, he had that fucking Erykah Badu thing going on. He said, couldn't be more true. Shouldn't say this, but she is actually my neighbor and wears flamboyant items. You know what? I believe that. I fucking believe that you live next door to goddamn Erykah Badu.
When I mow my lawn, I see her out there. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought it was a flamingo decoration. It was just her walking down the street to get the mail.
Dude, what's so funny about that, John, is like I used to remember when I was looking at like shows nearby or something, because I'm always like Bandstown trying to find concerts to go to, and I saw like an evening with Erykah Badu. I'm like, who the fuck?
I was like, that sounds like an evening with fucking Midol and Valium.
An evening with Erykah Badu.
No, thanks.
We'll be serving shrimp scampi on the horizon.
I'm gonna be passed out.
He said, heard you say Ezra. Oh, sorry. He said, couldn't be more true. Shouldn't say this, but she's actually my neighbor and wears flamboyant items. Actually seen Mr. Andre 3000 show up there. Hella, give me a fucking break, will you? Mr. Andre 3000 show up there a few times. Take care of Michael J. So this motherfucker has just like Andre 3000 shows up like, I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. I'm at Erykah Badu's house. That didn't fit or rhyme at all. But that's damn. Crazy.
Yeah, Andre 3000 is probably still looking for a joint to smoke. I don't know. Like just he ran out in the car on the way. He's like, does anyone have a bowl?
Look,
and he gets out of the car.
look out your window and be like, hey, what's cooler than cool? He'll be like, oh, fuck, my dog just ripped my earrings out. Like, ice cold. That's dude. I want to. Can we just come?
Hey, man, John, you live a life, man. That's a life, though. That like I couldn't imagine waking up and having these events occur. I mean, do they occur like back to back or like within the span of one day? Like I saw Erykah Badu and she was wearing like a weird fucking dress made out of like wheatgrass, and she was mowing her lawn, and then all of a sudden, Mr. Andre 3000 comes over and asks if anybody has a lighter for the bowl that he was trying to smoke out of his Lamborghini. And I was like, I would be like, this is like goddamn Willy Wonka land. I would be like, what the fuck is going on? I just woke up.
I'm just, dude, all I'm imagining right now is fucking Erykah Badu with that fucking towel on her, because that's what I call every time my wife gets out of the shower and she's got her hair in the towel. I'm like, what's up, Erykah Badu? She's like, shut the fuck up. But I'm just imagining her outside with her hair in the thing and like pushing like a John Deere.
No, dude, I swear it's like that. I swear it might be that way up where you live, John. I don't know, because I mean here, you might see an old man come out and like weed eat his grass and then like sit there and like play with his junk for a minute and then check his mail and then go back to his house. But you've got these crazy things happening, man. It's like, is this real life? But yeah, man. Thank you, John. What a great guy you are, and so generous. Thank you so much, man. That's amazing that you even give a fuck that much. But holy shit, man. Thank you.
And John, I don't know if you know this, dude, but after your last super chat, I won't bring up, but like after your last super chat, for like 2 super chats after, there was people like, hey, word up for fucking John Winston. I hope that dude's doing all right, man. Like, after everything that was going on, everybody was like, hey, I hope John's doing all right, man.
Yeah, when John comes in the chat, I feel like John comes in the chat he has his own theme music. It's like boom, 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 boom. No, it's like the Snake Plissken one from Escape from LA or New York, but it's like boom, 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 boom. Like it's like that. It's like and he just drops some words of wisdom and then he moves on.
Yeah, fucking love you, John.
Thank you,
John Winston. John fucking Winston, everybody. Absolutely, dude. And thank you, man. Seriously.
But you live a life, man. I gotta say, you live a life. I'm not saying I'm envious of it because I'm not. Like, I don't know what I would do if I ever like lived next to like a celebrity neighbor and somebody, like if I lived next to I don't know, fucking Ricky Lake, and she came out and like she came outside and she was like trying to tan and stuff, and she used like an experimental tan where she has to take all of her clothes off and like expose her butthole to the sun. Isn't that called colon tanning?
No, butthole tanning.
Butthole tanning, and I'm like. And I'm like, come in, it's like, hey, I just saw Ricky Lake from the TV show, like tanning her butthole.
Hey, Ricky, you're so fun. I remember Ricky Lake.
Yeah, I saw her butthole. Very waxed, but definitely saw it.
Oh, thank you, brother. We appreciate you, man. Dan Murphy said, check out the trailer for Kraven the Hunter. Almost looks like a horror movie more than a superhero movie. It looks way better than Morbius. Yeah, I took a shit today. It looks better than Morbius. Personally.
It's Morbid time. Morbius is actually one of those few movies that have risen above its terrible. I gotta be honest, I liked the movie. I mean, people were like, what the fuck did you smoke, Jay? I liked it just because I don't know. I kind of enjoy this kind of films. But yeah, it's risen above its humble beginnings and become a meme. And it's become such a meme that even Jared Leto got in on the joke where it's like Morbius 2, it's Morbin time, which is good for him. I mean, he just took the joke on the chin and kept going. He's like, yeah, people fucking shit on it, but became such
it's a great party.
Yeah, he wiped his fucking face from sucking off John Winston. But no, it's one of those films that like there's a few of them, and they don't happen very often anymore where it's so bad it's good. And people enjoy it for what it is. But as far as Kraven the Hunter, I don't know the Spider-Man Kraven the Hunter, or are you talking about Spider-Man 2, the video game?
No, it's Aaron Johnson's playing Kraven the Hunter in a solo movie just about Kraven the Hunter, and they just released the trailer for it today.
Okay, I see. I don't care.
Yeah. That's what exactly. I don't care.
But let me point out, I think Kraven the Hunter is a cool character and he's a good baddie for Spider-Man, but I never got into that story. I never got into the Kraven the Hunter vibe or plot line and how he fit into Spider-Man's life that everybody else did. I feel like he's kind of like generic. It feels generic to me.
And I will, for you, Dan, I will check out the trailer and see, and I hope you're right. If it feels like a horror movie, that'd be cool. But from the outskirts, to me, it seems like Sony being like, hey, man, I'm just trying to stretch $1, make it $5. They got with a guy, and they're like, I'm just trying to make a living, bro.
Fucking with my money is like fucking with my palm.
All I got's Kraven the Hunter. I will make a fucking movie. I will make him a superhero. Sorry, Michael Pardon said we need a better fan service, full frontal.
Yeah, Flash should have been running through time and pulled his stick out to air it out, and everybody would have been happy.
By the way, dude, I looked over at my 7-year-old during the butt cheek scene, and she literally turned around to me. She was sitting there watching, and she goes,
"Oh yeah."
And looks at me.
Yeah, like,
okay,
Michael.
Like,
wait
I
a
made
minute.
the fucking decision.
You got butt cheek. You almost got wiener. I thought that
so close.
I was like, it's close. And I gotta say, goddamn, Ezra Miller is in shape.
Yeah, that was another thing that got me. So,
I
know he like grooms children, but look at his abs.
Yeah, but that's why he's a cult leader, but that made me hate him more just because he's in shape. Like, you white fucking pasty ass looking asshole with good abs and a great ass.
Jerry Raby said, when Barry comes out the time bowl, when Barry comes out of the time bowl, would be ideal to have a new walk out and say he came from the Nick Cage super.
That would be great. Yes, dude. Jerry, that would be it. Because then all you got to do, that's all. Because you have you recast the new Barry. He's already familiar with the Flash powers, right? He understands all of that. He comes out replacing Ezra, and he's like, I come from a universe where literally Nick Cage, who's fucking, Nick Cage's Superman could be kind of crazy and kind of off. So when he comes into the regular DCEU, the James Gunn, and he's like, oh, you guys kind of have everything together here. And you cast an older, like 35, 40-year-old Barry. You've hit the nail on the head, Jerry.
I like the way your camera got blurry. Fucking shit.
Well, no, that's exactly what you should do.
Jones's music.
Hey, would you not want that in older?
No, I'm with you 100%. Yeah. No, that's fucking Warner Brothers at work, man. That's Warner Brothers at work. That scene right again. There's so many options to be like, hey, congratulations, dude. We left you in the movie because we couldn't afford to cut you out, but you and I both know. If we could have cut you out after all the shit you did, you'd have been fucking working at Subway right now.
It's raining.
But you know what? It's Warner Brothers is too stupid to be like, this is an obvious fucking perfect time to replace the Flash, and they didn't.
Well,
instead they were like,
this movie financially might be a flop. I enjoyed it, but it might financially be a flop. So I hope that there's a board member that shakes hands with the CEO, like, congratulations, you played yourself.
Motherfuckers getting scripts out of goddamn porta potties. Blake Barisic. I like your name, dude. It sounds fucking nice rolling off tongue like butt sex. Blake Butt Sex Barisic. I love it. This first live spoiler party and an immortality.
Hey, all right. Take it. For the fun it's yours.
I'm Rainbow, so I can say that. Hey, we're not, and we still say it all the time.
You suck dick.
And that's a lot of them, man. That's beautiful, dicks. Man.
Especially in June, there's so many dicks coming in your mouth, you don't even know whose it is. That
makes
cool,
me
man.
Wish I was, because I would just be like, hey, dude, this is our fucking month.
Well, thank you, Blake, man. Thank you for the support there, bro.
Me and Jay back in the day be like, hey, let's go out tonight and try to get some ladies, man. But if we were fucking, it'd be June, be like, hey, this is we gotta go on every night. We gotta go every night. This is our time.
I ain't gonna pretend though.
It's our time.
I've seen some pretty men before, but I like in vagina walls. I like in walls.
I wish I was. I do sometimes. But no, I'll say this, man. And by the way, it's a perfect time to bring this up, Blake. And thank you for being an Immortality Patreon member. There's a thing going on right this second, right now. Just put it up last night. For the next week, you can get our $10 Patreon tier for free. Fucking free.
What y'all waiting for? What are you waiting for, huh?
And Dean, this is an exploding offer. It's a 7-day free trial that you can get on our Patreon right now, our $10 tier, which means
bullshit, man.
There's over 50, and like once a month we do these Patreon parties where we go live with our top 2 Patreon tier members. We do beer chugs, we do movie trivia, we play fucking dumbass songs on a guitar, we sing, we dance, we fuck around, and it's uncensored and it's wild. And there's over 50 of those. Over 50 of those right now.
How many?
And they're free.
Do they get that? They have access to the Patreon reviews as well, huh?
Right. Not only that, but every single Patreon video we've ever done, over 70 Patreon full movie commentaries is on there. There is so much fucking wham it'll be coming out of your goddamn ears.
I feel like Peter Venkman in the Ghostbusters 2 is like, half off. Have we all gone crazy? I guess so, Pete, because we're also giving away what else? He's like, you mean the free mug and balloon for the kids? Go, Ghostbusters!
That's 100% what's happening, Dean, and I'm glad you recognized it. But no, for the next 7 days, that tier is free, so please check it out. Just Google Patreon, We Watch the Movie, and you get all that stuff for free.
By the way, if my internet goes out, it's fucking raining hard. Is it raining where you are yet?
It's raining.
It's raining.
No stormies. No stormies, just a little bit of rain.
Hard.
By the way, do you think it's weird that there was no tie-in to Batman vs Superman where Barry shows up with a mustache and is like,
I mentioned that. I was like, I think that the original idea of Zack Snyder was that he was going to play with that idea.
Yeah.
And then, they were like, no, whatever.
Didn't happen. Hey, I got to pee first this time. Fuck you.
Okay.
I win.
Okay.
Gary,
Mike just wants to leave all you beautiful people behind, so it's fine. He just wants to go outside and like act like nothing happened today.
Ah, beautiful people.
Where are we at? Okay, so 8. What is that one? What's Gary?
We are at Gary. Where'd you go? We are at 9:30 p.m. Gary says, "I've got to say, Iron Man didn't get me. Logan, Professor X, Gwen Stacy's death fucked me up. Gwen Stacy just felt mean to me when I watched it. I was like,
well, that's how the comic was, though.
Right. Like I was like, we all know that comes from the comic, but it still felt dark and twisted. Professor X, it was fucked up because in his last movie, he was rolling around like the new quesarito from Taco Bell. Come get him while supplies last.
Mike's making fun of like people with handicaps.
But it was sad. Like, it was even sadder. But I think Logan, of that list, Logan or Professor X was definitely the saddest.
Well, yeah, because Logan was very much like an Unforgiven Clint Eastwood type of movie.
Yeah,
I feel like Logan and Professor X dying was very much, for me, not in the same type of way, but how Morgan Freeman's character died in Unforgiven, which is very brutal. I mean, he didn't die in that way, but he died of like, he did die in a brutal way, actually. Professor X died and looking into the eyes. Looking into the eyes of someone he trusted.
That was fucked up. I think maybe Professor X is the worst out of all.
That might be the worst. I mean, if you look at a guy like, oh, you're bringing me some fucking milk so I can go my old ass to sleep, and it's like, no, I brought you death, bitch.
Someone has come along, Logan.
No, he does.
All right, I'll be right back. We're at 9:30. The next chat is the next super chat is our buddy Jerry Ramey.
Jerry Ramey coming in. When Brave and Bold comes out, Damian needs to be early teens. I know Damian being young would give Batman innocent ID to protect, but Damian needs to be a destroyer. Yeah. Well, because Damian is young. I think in the comics, or at least in the way that they presented Damian, he's always looked like he's like 13 or 14, and he's very petulant. He's very impatient, very much an asshole that thinks he knows better because he was trained by the League of the Shadows, and Batman is just a bleeding heart. Yeah, I could see that, but I don't want it to become like a cheaper by the dozen kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I definitely think that if you're going to introduce Damian, that's a good question, man. Do you introduce Damian as a younger, kind of like a surprise situation with Batman, because that's how it was in the comic books? Or is it like Batman's already been training him for a while when Batman's introduced with Damian, and he's a little bit more mature, but he's still kind of an arrogant prick? I don't know, man. I kind of feel with the latter, it's good. That's a good thought, though. Younger Damian works, but I don't. The problem is if you make him too young and he's too annoying and he's too much of a prick, I don't know. The audience might not eat that up. I personally never liked Damian. I think Damian. I hated Damian. Damian Wayne sucks. I never liked Damian. I know. I get it. Like, he's got lore, but I think Damian sucks, dude. Dick Grayson will always be Batman's true kid. That's it. Facts. Tim Drake is close, but it's what the fuck is my mouse doing? It won't go down. That's what she said. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh my fuck. Okay. Treflamidit. I know that's awful. I sound like I'm trying to announce like some kind of chocolate bar from France when I say your name. I'm sorry. Hey guys, do you have a character in a movie that grew on you that at first you didn't like, but over time started to love them? Love you guys. Thank you, man. Love you too. A character that I didn't like, and then over time I appreciate it. No, I can't think of any. I really like the characters that I loved growing up. I'm sorry. It took me. I closed out the window. Were the characters that I like. So I don't have I don't have any particular character that I remember from being like, oh, I hated them, and no. I maybe Mike does. I don't. Philip Fuller, thank you so much, sir, says After this movie, the pressure is on for Superman Legacy, but Nicholas Hoult being in the running for Superman doesn't give me much hope. Dude, that's fucking awful. That is so fucking bad, dude. That is like when you get a cut and you have to, you realize when you go to the hospital, they're going to give you fucking stitches and they have to put the needle in that bitch and numb it. And then they have to do that's so fucking bad, dude. No, Nicholas Hoult as Superman is the worst decision of all fucking time. Please, gods of the gods of Krypton and Gotham City, don't let that happen. That is terrible. Nicholas Hoult is fine in certain situations. I liked him in Warm Bodies. Wasn't a huge fan of him as the Beast. Kelsey Grammer was way better. Was exactly what the Beast should be. Very much felt like his cartoon version of the X-Men, the animated series in the 90s, which is the greatest animated series of all time, with the greatest theme music of all time. So no, Nicholas Hoult, terrible. Will McSwain says, how do you make a Flash movie without a proper Flash villain? How do you make a Flashpoint riff without at least a glimpse of the Reverse Flash? Dude, I know you're speaking to the choir here. If they did have Thawne, who do you cast? Dude, Will, you are so fucking right, bro. I mean, 100%. Eobor Thawne was not in this fucking movie at all, okay? And we should have mentioned that in the spoiler review, and we didn't because we're fucking dumbasses, and we continuously sit around being mediocre. Eobor Thawne is the Reverse Flash, okay? He's an ancestor of Barry. I don't remember what century he's from, the 23rd or the 24th. I can't remember. And I can't even remember why he hates Barry so much. But anyhow, Eobor Thawne in the Flashpoint is why Barry's mother dies. The Reverse Flash. She has the same powers as Barry Allen, but instead of choosing them to do good, he chooses them to do evil and rob 7-Elevens of their candy bars and Fanta sodas. And he's the one that actually went back in time and killed Barry's mother. But they didn't even mention, you are correct, Will, one thing about Eobor Thawne, the Reverse Flash. I kind of thought, to be honest with you, Will, the way that they were making young Barry, there was a few signs in the film. He was wearing yellow. He had like a yellow jacket on. He had a couple of yellow items around him. I was like, it's a weird idea, kind of strange. What if they make young Barry there because he gets mad and shit and he gets angry about not being able to save the people that he loves in the past when he gets to Speed Force? What if he becomes Eobor Thawne? I mean, it's stupid. It's not Eobor Thawne, but at least you get something there. And he's already wearing yellow. So what if he just like the suit becomes yellow? And they didn't do that. But yes, 100%. And by the way, it leaves a gaping ass hole bigger than Courtney Love's vagina in the whole story, because at the end of the movie, when he does let his mom die, Barry Allen, that is, how the fuck did she stab herself with the knife, right? Well, we all know as fans of Flashpoint and the Flash itself in the DC universe that the reason why she's dead is because in the comic books, at least, and the animated series, the Reverse Flash went back in time and killed her, and that's how she stabbed herself with the knife, and the father was blamed for the murder. But they didn't wrap that up, right? So the plot hole is still there. But you are dead on, Will. Hey, did you not know that? So in the original Flashpoint movie, okay, so in this movie, in the Flash, he goes back in time, and when he's in the grocery store, he puts the tomato sauce back up, and he does wind up saving his dad because he tilts the camera so the camera will see that he was there. That provides him for the alibi, right? But did you not even think twice about when he sees his mom being dead? She has a knife. Someone stabbed her. They didn't explain that. Someone stabbed her.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know who did that was Eobor Thawne, which was the Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
And Will McSwain, with his sexy brain, brought that up. He says, how do you make a Flash movie without a proper Flash villain? How do you make a Flashpoint riff without at least a glimpse of the Reverse Flash? If they did have Thawne, who would you cast? I didn't get to that part yet, but he's exactly right. That's a huge fucking plot hole. So he's like, okay, well, everything's back to normal, but he doesn't know who killed his fucking mom. She didn't stab herself with a fucking butter knife. Who did?
Yeah. Wave right past that shit.
Yeah.
No,
and as far as who I would cast as my particular Reverse Flash, Man, I got to be honest with you. I think the person that could pull it off, but he's been overused so many fucking times that people are like, oh my God, Jay, why are you doing that? I would cast
Leto.
No, I would cast the the dude that played I never can remember this fucking guy's name. I don't know why. The dude that played Professor Xavier in the X-Men
James McAvoy.
I would cast James McAvoy as my Reverse Flash.
Yeah,
because he's got the crazy, the fit, Eborthon, and he's got the tenacity to play him. I would cast fucking dude McAvoy as Reverse Flash.
Yeah,
but anyway, yes, you were exactly right, and that was something that we didn't even talk about. That huge plot hole.
Yeah,
huge. So you already know, like, he saves his mom, but you didn't think twice. Like, not one time. You have to
go back and even look.
Like, can I see who the fuck stabbed her?
Right. That's great. Yeah, that's a great fucking point, Will. That's a great fucking point, man. That's just another one of the plot holes in the movie.
Okay, and the last thing I'm going to say, I got to go pee. But there was a question here. Okay. Treflimidit says, do you have a character in a movie that grew on you that you at first didn't like, but over time started to love them? So that was the last thing.
That's a great fucking
I know. I think I gave a very asshole answer, but you can do your best. I will go now.
That's you know what I will say? I will say that, goddamn, there's definitely a better fucking answer for this than I'm going to give you right now. But fucking damn, there's got to be a great one in there. There's got to be a ton of fucking really good ones. That's a good question. The only thing I can think off the top, just because we were talking about X-Men First Class, is probably the entirety of that cast. Like, I hated the idea that they did that. When X-Men First Class came out, I thought, this is stupid. Like, we have the coolest X-Men there are. Like, we have the full-on Hugh Jackman as Logan. We're gonna go back, and now we're gonna do the old school X-Men that never were as interesting. Like, it's cool, that's where it started, but like, it was never as interesting as the full-on 90s Cyclops, Wolverine, Jubilee, all that shit. And I didn't even want to watch First Class in theaters, but when I went back and watched it, I was like, oh fuck, I get it. I fucking get it. But I also, you know what I'll say? I'll say Henry Cavill. That's actually who I will say. I thought that Jay and I, we were doing the channel back then when all this was coming out, and everybody was like, oh, Henry Cavill's going to be the new Superman. And we reviewed Cold Light of Day, which was his movie that came out before that with him and Bruce Willis. And I was like, that guy's boring. Henry Cavill just looked boring as shit to me. I didn't see any kind of charisma. I didn't see anything in there. I thought, that's a terrible thing. I thought it was going to blow ass. And then come to figure out, I was like, that's one of my favorite superheroes of all time. So Henry Cavill's probably up there. Daniel Craig is another one. I did not see Bond and Craig until I watched Casino Royale. And then I was like, holy shit balls. He came out of the fucking water wearing those short shorts. And I was like, God damn it. That's my fucking James Bond. So those are two strong ones right there. Faux fucking show. And moving ahead as we do, I like head. Who doesn't? Austin says, I had a dream where Doc Brown showed up during a storm and said, they make Michael Myers get beat up by some dork sidekick and a refrigerator. We got to save the franchise. Then we kicked some ass. I had a dream last night, dude. Fucking crazy. Dream I was on a airplane with my wife, and the fucking airplane went backwards and went into the water, went into the ocean. And then we were like the airplane turned into a fucking submarine. And I'm like, this is fine. We got it. I'm just really scared of airplanes. I don't know what the point of that was, but that was the dream that I had. But, you know, it is true. Both can be true. Both can be true. And this is the same. It's a great reference to The Flash. I feel like this movie, I did not enjoy it very much. Like, I enjoyed parts of it. And I thought sometimes they nailed it. The beginning of the movie was fun as shit. There's a part of me that was really excited to see Keaton back as Batman, even if I thought they botched the shit out of it and made it this corny fucking CGI'd Walmart fest. But I can see both the side of someone who watched The Flash and none of that bothered them and really enjoyed it. And I can also see the side of someone who was like, that was a horrid piece of shit. I land in the middle with like a 6 to a 6.5, like I said. But I feel the same way about Halloween Ends. You know, I dug it because I've seen every Halloween movie 37 fucking times. Probably fucking way more than that. And Halloween Ends to me it's different. It's strange. It's sort of punk rock in that it subverts expectations and really makes this like strange Donnie Darko-ish feeling indie film. But the fan of me goes, that was your fucking trilogy, though. That's how you're going to kill Michael Myers, by having him barely be a part of the movie and do this love story, and you're going to waste that golden nugget that you had. So I understand both sides of it. I really do. And I would like to see the character of Michael Myers carry on in a different fashion, and I know that we will, so that I can still appreciate what they did with Halloween Ends. But if there was never another Halloween movie and we never tied up the character any better than that, yeah, it'd be disappointing. I just never saw the movie that way. I just saw it as another Halloween movie, and I enjoyed that they did something different with it. But yeah, Doc Brown, that's what I would say to you as well. Michael Parton said Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will conclude the Snyderverse, so I'll see it. But Gunn is already having Blue Beetle as the first DCE first. That is a thing. Blue Beetle being announced as the first official. Hi. Blue Beetle, and they said this. James Gunn announced recently that Blue Beetle will actually be the first film of the new James Gunn universe.
Fuck these chords. I can't hear you. Hold on.
You're good.
Fucking thing sucks.
No, I was gonna say, just recently James Gunn said, I saw it on Twitter, he was like, the first movie of the James Gunn DCEU is Blue Beetle, and that's just not true. It's not true. That was announced beforehand, or
Brave and Bold, you know.
Right, but like they said, Blue Beetle is the first of his story. And it's just not true. What they're trying to do is they realize that Blue Beetle seems like, and I like the kid from Karate Kid, or from Cobra Kai that's playing him.
No, the character's great. Yeah.
I hope it works out great. But they are just taking something that is not that, and they're saying, we put all this money into it. We need you to say it's the first one to try to get people to go see it. The same way that they cheaply tried to tell us, like, no, the Flash movie matters in the new universe, and it really doesn't at all. And they're going to try to get us to go see Aquaman 2, and it just all feels fake, and it feels like lies. And they're really trying to, like, we're going to wipe it all away, but we're not going to tell you that just yet, because we really want you to feel like you have to see these movies to understand. And it's just a microcosm of just how broken Warner Brothers is. It's not going to work for them. It didn't work with the Flash. Blue Beetle, I don't feel it's like is going to do well at the box office, and I really don't feel like Aquaman 2 is going to do well. I think they're fucked on those.
Hami Ray's is the, I had to look it up. I forgot because DC had the original Blue Beetle is a different guy completely, and they're going more for the younger target audience. I think that Blue Beetle is going to be more of a, that's their version or their take on trying to do a Spider-Man type of character, a very like young, inexperienced kid that gets these awesome powers, and he's trying to navigate how to be a superhero and balancing out his regular life. And he's also, it's a very familial type of movie as well, because Hami Reyes is very close to his family. So I feel like that's what they're going to go for. But at the same time, yeah, I no, 100%. James Gunn, his first movie out the gate, like his actual first big walk into the new DCEU is going to be The Brave and the Bold, the Superman film. And why wouldn't you? I mean, you're going to, obviously, if you're a director and you're like the new guy, right, for Warner Brothers DCEU, you're going to take the biggest hitter you got, Sammy Sosa, no steroids involved, and try to knock it out of the park with Superman. Every director probably like either is extremely like anxious and wants to do a Superman movie, or extremely afraid to do a Superman movie. But I feel like that's exactly what James Gunn, and I mean, to be honest, Ben, just looking at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and what he did with Peacemaker, I'm excited for his take on Superman. And Brave and the Bold is one of the best fucking stories ever. So I think it's going to be, like, again, don't get me wrong, I would have loved if he had been like, I don't give a fuck what Warner Brothers says. Henry Cavill's still our Superman, and I'm going to use him.
Yeah. No, and I wish they would have done that too. I think James Gunn's going to be successful with what he does with the DCEU, but I think Warner Brothers is already clipping his wings by getting him to come out and act like this Flash movie is connected to his universe, and acting like Blue Beetle's connected to his universe. They want to get rid of him, just like they did the Batgirl movie. I feel like behind the scenes.
Well, no, I feel like they're only doing the Flash thing because they want to get rid of Ezra Miller. And James Gunn could do that very easily.
They could have, yeah, 100%. Jonathan Gerardo, thanks, buddy, says, "Hey, fellas, I was baked as a pie when I saw this. Did they mention who killed his mom? Also, what are some other summer movies you're looking forward to?" That's a great,
we just talked about that, and the great and wise prophet came down from the mountain, and I think he's a Jedi named Will McSwain. Has already explained that.
Jimmy War looking motherfucker.
Yeah, he's a great. They never explained it, and we're dumb. And we're terrible movie reviewers because we didn't even. I thought that.
That's why we do the live.
I literally thought that when I left the theater, but because of a thing called adult beverages, I forgot, was the fact that they never showed who killed his mom. So no, they did not address.
I was
that
sober
at
as a
all.
judge. I have no excuse.
It was such a no. It was such a gross miss. I don't know what I was going to say. A grossly overlooked plot line that they never solved in this movie at all.
It was the Joker.
It was Eobor Thawne. I mean, if anybody that knows a Flashpoint, it's Eobor Thawne. It's a reverse Flash. I don't know if that was because they're like, we don't want to introduce the reverse Flash. I think that's what it was. I think they were like, this is the last time we're ever going to see Ezra Miller or anything connected to the Snyder universe. So we don't want to introduce a new villain for Flash in Eobor Thawne because we're not going to use him. So let's just not do it. So maybe that's why that was their thinking. But as far as other summer movies, well, it's definitely not Indiana Jones. I will say that I'm going to go see it, but apparently that is worse than a fucking helium balloon filled with explosives over a tiny village. Apparently, it's a bad one. And I'm willing to give any movie a chance, but apparently that movie is fucking all about Indy being preached to by his granddaughter and how much of an asshole he was, how much of a misogynist he was, how much of an, all this stuff. And I'm like, nobody wants to see that fucking shit. What the fuck? We were literally just talking about listen to what your audience wants. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull fucking sucked. It was a terrible ass movie. And now you're doing this shit with Indy. You might as well just fucking kiss it goodbye. Why in the fuck would I want to watch Indiana Jones? By the way, the actual ending of Indiana Jones was The Last Crusade. Always will be. Sean Connery, whole fucking thing. The end of that was Indiana Jones. But why in the fuck would I want to go see a movie where a childhood hero like Indiana Jones is going to be berated by an asshole fucking Gen X or not Gen, like a Zoomer? I don't know what their fucking their generation is called. Preaching about how much of a fuck you, bitch. Do you know I touched the Ark of the Covenant? Do you know I watched a man literally rip another man's heart out of his chest and then I defeated him? Do you know that I also drank from the cup of the Holy Grail? Who the fuck are you, you TikTok bitch? Go back to TikTok.
The only way I will actually, and maybe I will, I mean, it comes out really soon. The only way I'll actually see Indiana Jones, the new one, is if I go back and I watch the other four. Because I've never, as a kid, I enjoyed the movies, but I enjoyed them just as face value. Like I liked watching them with my dad. I've never had a real nostalgic, like super connection though, as an adult to them. Yeah. So like I've never had a connection. I know like you and I know a lot of people do. And that part of it doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is when I saw the trailer and they're doing that woo woo, like that whole thing, to me, it felt like that trailer had been infected by the Marvel ideal of movies, which is fan service, pure vanilla, like nothing new. We're going to give fan service, nostalgia. The same problem I have with a lot of the things in this movie is what I feel like they're peddling with that. So even though it's James Mangold directing it, which would give me pause to say maybe it's worth it, I have no interest right now. Maybe I'll go back and watch the movies and maybe I'll go see it, but I'm with you on that.
Don't watch the fourth one. Don't watch the fourth one. You don't need to.
I still have not seen it. It's just, again, it's not a franchise.
You literally don't need to watch the fourth one. The fourth one was a terrible experiment on.
I've heard it sucks
in a very pandering way. Well, not pandering, but it was kind of. But this one, the Dial of Destiny, dude. I mean, just based on what I heard coming out of the screen testings and what people are saying, like, and again, I know that we say it, but I'm not even saying it here like unironically, or it was fucking bad. It was woke as fuck because again, I don't. Certain movies can be certain movies, whatever, and they can have a message and they can do it very smartly and very subtly. And this one is just beating you over the fucking head that your childhood hero of the 80s, Indiana Jones, was a misogynist. He was an asshole. He was all these things. Like, He saved the fucking world. He did all these great things. And he was also very kind to Short Round, which was in Temple of Doom. He saved the village, but he was always selfish. He was an asshole. You know, I'm like, you guys literally, again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier in the stream. You don't listen to what the fucking fans want. They don't want to see their heroes of the old treaded over and pissed on and shit on for like whatever the fuck you're trying to present it to on Twitter. They don't want that shit. Either don't make the fucking movie if you're going to shit on the heroes of the old, or make the movie and make it exactly like what people want. Like give him a good sounding, you know, give him a good off. By the way, at this point, if that girl is going to be the new Indiana Jones, I would have taken Shia LaBeouf at the end of Indy 4. I would have taken. He almost was. And there's a moment. I mean, I know you haven't seen it. There's a moment in Indy 4 at the very end of the movie. The hat. It almost happened, and I would have rather have taken that garbage than what they're trying to do here. I'm not going to go watch fucking Indiana Jones with this chick. I don't fucking care about her. I don't care. Yeah. Just in the fucking franchise. I
didn't even know about any of that stuff. And still, the movie just seemed like popular retread. Might as well just release Indiana Jones in theaters again.
What talking about? Like you were talking about the Flash being about. Like you might as well have TikTok creators. This whole fucking movie could have been TikTokers, like chasing trends and pandering on Twitter. In that case, making the movie.
In that case, it sounds even worse than it looked just as a generic fan of it.
It looks bad. But, as far as like a movie I'm actually looking forward to watching this summer. To be honest, man, I don't know. I have to look. I can't remember. I'm sure there is one or two.
For me, it's The Red Door, Insidious, The Red Door, and it is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Those are my two big ones. I'm really excited for Dead Reckoning.
I'm so behind on Mission Impossible. I got to go back and watch them.
You got to fucking watch it, dude. So good.
You know the last Mission Impossible I watched was the third one. So I'm that far behind.
You're missing some good shit.
I know.
Dude.
I gotta have a whole fucking weekend of just watching Tom Cruise and falling in love with his weird face. But I gotta.
Yeah.
But
they're good, dude.
But the Insidious one, The Red Door, especially since it's supposedly the last one, and Patrick Wilson is directing it, so I'll be interested to see if he actually brings Lin Shaye back too. I love Lin Shaye.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that movie, and I'm excited for there's a couple original horror movies coming out too, but not a really hugely great summer. Honestly, when you look back at it, for sure. But thanks, Jonathan. Really appreciate it, man. Joe Valentine said, if a new Blade movie got made with no Snipes, who do you cast? Well, they casted Marciana Ali. So that's actually happening, or at least it's a TV series, and it's nothing against him. He's an amazing fucking.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't judge it because I haven't seen anything with like test footage or even him doing anything else, so I can't judge it.
I think he'll kick ass, but honestly,
Michael Jai White. If you're gonna cast Michael Jai White,
but if you're gonna do that, you might as well just cast Wesley Snipes. Right?
I think so. But to be honest with you, Wesley Snipes looks good. Have an older Blade. Who the fuck cares? Have an older Blade.
No, I agree. Wesley Snipes is my answer. Yeah. Wesley Snipes would be.
He
would
fucking do it.
That.
He was 100%. He's like, I still owe like $50,000 to the IRS. Please.
I need this shit. Michael Part said, "You guys are my Sonic, and I'm your Tails." Hey, Michael, all I know is I appreciate you.
Let's all three go out and collect coins and run through the Rainbow Bridge.
Ding 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Austin, we appreciate you too, buddy. Thank you, man. Says, I wish they'd make a rated R Bullseye comic book film that's basically a slasher.
Ooh, I like that. Direct. God damn, Austin. Now that is what we're talking about right there, sir. That's how you do it. That's how you do it in America. That's how Dad did it, and that's how America does it. Tony Stark built these parts in a cave. Yes, Austin, you are correct. If you're gonna do a Bullseye correct, Colin Farrell was already a great actor. You already had that, right? In Daredevil, you do it right and you make it exactly like that. That's also how they should do Victor Zsasz in the Batman series. 100%. Holy shit. And Tarantino get out of here.
I mean, Tarantino's kind of a cheat because no matter what you're doing, you could be like, Tarantino, you could be like, I want to see a homeless dude take a shit on a sidewalk. And everyone's like, what? And they're like, but Tarantino directs. They're like,
yeah, he'd have like 50. Yeah. He'd have 50,000 lines of dialogue about why that homeless person's taking a shit.
You watch it.
And they were like sitting across the street at the Waffle House watching this person take a shit. Who I would go with, man. Rated R Bullseye comic based on with a slasher in mind, not Tarantino, I'd go with Robert Rodriguez. That's who I feel like. And
I love Robert Rodriguez as well.
Have Tarantino produce it.
That being said, there's so many comic book villains or otherwise villains. I think Bullseye would be very, very low on my list of people who I would make a full blown film, especially if you had someone Rodriguez or Tarantino.
He's just underused. It's like Black Mask and Batman.
But think about
people don't know
Gambit.
who he is.
Like what about like Gambit? Like not a villain, obviously, but like there's so many comic book villains and heroes that are untouched that if you got an auteur director, they could do some amazing shit, but they're scared to because it's not gonna, they cost so much money to do those movies. But no, I would
good
watch
suggestion,
that,
man. Like good idea.
Yeah, I would 110,000% watch that, man. Great point, Dan. Dan also says, even if with time travel / superhero variants, the most unrealistic part of the Flash is when Michael Keaton's Batman says Gotham is the safest.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
in
sense
the
to
world.
me. Yeah, I know. And even when I heard that, I'm like, what the fuck does he mean? Like again, you're also living in a reality where there are no other heroes, right? There's no other heroes. Superman doesn't exist. Supergirl's been locked up, so she doesn't exist at all. There's no Flash. There's no Aquaman. He's not even born. Wonder Woman stayed on Amazon, or she's
mascara up there doing lesbian stuff.
But she's also on Amazon. She's delivering packages. It just doesn't care about anybody. But yeah, so there's no Justice League. There's no Martian Manhunter. There's no Cyborg. He became a professional football player. They actually do mention that in the film. But yeah. You're exactly right. And that's what I was saying is like, unless he had done such a great job of cleaning up Gotham that there was nothing left. But that Gotham City was supposed to be the most corruptible, the most corrupt city in all of DC, really. Mm-hmm. And like, how would that? You've got so many. I guess in Michael Keaton's world, Joker's dead, Penguin's dead, Two-Face is dead, Riddler is in an asylum, so Catwoman is missing. So all the big players, as far as like some of the big players, are gone. But it doesn't make any sense, Dan. You're right. It doesn't make any sense.
The whole thing doesn't make any fucking sense, man. If you look at it with a jagged edge of fucking like, with the last time we saw this Batman, he was who he was. And then you look at it with the aspect of that, and it's like, it's so exciting to see Keaton play 89 Batman again. And I love seeing the suit and I love seeing the Batcave, even though it was fucking CG. Like, God damn it. It's one of those things that pisses me off, dude. 1989. Yeah. You know how many years ago that was? They built those fucking cities. They made that shit look that way. They gave us that fucking thing. And here we are in 2023 when we should have flying cars. And you're going to fucking CGI the goddamn Batcave. Suck my fucking
I feel like it was
that shit is such a smack in the face to movie fans.
Again, I think it goes back to the fact that they didn't care. Like, they were like, this movie is DOA. There's so much controversy around it. It's not going to matter at all in the end, because it's not going to be connected to gun. So who fucking cares?
And it's this thing, like, I mean, I've never been one to be like, oh, you should have my childhood, blah, blah, blah. I can get a job, Greg. But like, like the fucking idea that that we find 89 Batman, and after all the cool shit we saw him do and how heavy Batman Returns was and all that shit, he's just living in the fucking house, and like, he's fucking basically goddamn Harold and Kumar, just walking around as a fucking hippie that Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would hate and tell him to get his mechanical asshole out of his fucking neighborhood. And he's just fucking like, oh, I'm fucking weird ninja dude who hangs out in my come the fuck on.
Yeah,
it's a smack in the face of our guy Michael Keaton. I hate it.
Don't shit on our childhood heroes, Mike.
That's
your job
to them, Jay. Yeah, it's that part of it sucks, man. It does. Like, it's and maybe Gotham is safe and he's done his part, but to me, they fast forwarded through a whole fucking story. Yeah. They fast forwarded through a whole fucking 40 years or whatever of story. Just be like, well, this actually makes it easier for us to make our Flash movie, so we'll just basically degrade everything Michael Keaton did so that we can get to our point in our CGI fucking flop fest.
It's not like people that get mad about like a He-Man reboot or whatever. I do have my problems with it, but I mean, I don't like it didn't. But when they do shit like, these are iconic, man. These are iconic heroes, and as far as like the actors that played them, and then you just like you glaze over all of it and you don't care. And then as an audience member, you have to make up headcanon just to explain it, that's fucking bullshit. I had to come up with the idea, like maybe they came up with some kind of like ultimate police force that Alfred and Bruce worked on after Batman Returns, and therefore it kept the city safe. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to do your fucking job for you, but I have to.
We're living in the worst timeline.
Well, I have to do that to enjoy the film. I have to come up with like where your plot is. I have to come up with something that fills that fucking cavity in because I'm so disappointed in what you gave me. So I was like sitting there in my head, kind of like, no. What happened was Michael Gough, who played Alfred in the original '89 Batman. What they did was when Alfred got sick, they were like, oh, well, we can't keep doing this forever. And Batman had been going out there. And he's like, let's come up with some like fucking robot guards and police, like cameras and we'll give the technology to the Gotham PD along with Commissioner Gordon, and we'll help them out. And that's what happened. That's what I'm sticking with.
27 goddamn cool movies into a fucking Surge commercial.
That's what I'm sticking with. So fuck you, Warner Brothers.
They turned it into a fucking Surge commercial, man, a soda pop commercial. That's goddamn it. If you start to think about that, you start to go down a hill. I don't even want to go there. I'm just trying to like take the movie at face value and be like, how was it entertaining? Was it not? And it was entertaining enough. But like when I start to think about like what you could have done with Keaton's character and how important every moment of like Batman Returns was and Batman '89 was, and then you just fast forward and going, God, I'm safe. Everything's fine. He's an old ninja living in a cabin. We need it for our movie. Fuck history. Like that shit sucks.
It felt like some of those parts were wrote by people that didn't either watch the Michael Keaton Batmans or didn't care.
It's honestly dropping my score for the movie. Like I went from a 6.5. I'm starting to feel like a 5 right now. I'm still getting angry.
I'm still at an 8. I'm still at an 8 because anyway, but I really
sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Not the whole. I'm just saying that sucks. That sucks. We could have had so much coolness. And it sucks.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I feel like I'm in I'm in a group therapy council, and then we're talking about things that hurt us. And I'm thinking like, I'm like, dude, all I want to do is go home and listen to Third Eye Grace. Is that the Third Eye
Blind?
No,
or 3 Days Grace. Home.
Yeah, but yeah,
without love.
3 Days Grace. And I just want to listen to a really sad song.
Dale Torres says, growing up, I always preferred Batman Returns to '89. Couldn't tell you why. Penguin killing little kids. Isn't that a little bang? No, it's a lot.
Yeah, dude, I remember that scene. That scene was fucking dark. Yeah. Batman Returns was very, very on the cusp of being horror. And it, like they turned it just enough to make it not rated R, but that's ultimately what led us to Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever, because the audience score that came out after Batman Returns, they're like, our kids were terrified. So unfortunately, no, that movie is fucking weird and it is strange. I really would have loved to have seen a Tim Burton third movie though. If everyone hadn't been so fucking sensitive with their tampons, I would have loved to have seen what his final third film would have been with Michael Keaton, because he didn't want a Robin, which, by the way, I agree with that. Batman doesn't need a Robin. I mean, of course, he's important to the overall arcing story of Batman, and it does make sense in certain situations. But in Tim Burton's universe, Batman don't need a Robin, period. So I would have loved to have seen the third film play out. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Batman Returns, with the whole thing being dark, and you preferring it. I didn't prefer it because I think what happened, it just went too BDSM. It was on that line of like anal beads and like nipple rings.
It was
sort
of like
it was like
right, take you to a gay bar.
No, it wasn't even a gay bar. It was like it was like taking it might as well take you to Old Navy. It was like close. It was like the gay bar before the gay bar. Old Navy. You go to Old Navy first, and then you go to the gay bar.
It was super sexual though. That movie was really
hypersexual. Yeah. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer in that suit, god damn it, she licks his face. Woo-wee.
Well, there was no Twitter in '92, but I do remember being a kid and remember the hoopla about parents being really mad about like,
they were pissed.
God damn, they took this movie and they made it sexual as hell.
You know, that's
and
why
she's
it
like
is, because
being all sexy, licking Batman's nostrils.
Every stepfather or father that went named Stan was like, God damn it. I didn't want to. I'm here with my kid and my dick is hard. I'm here with my kid, and my dick is hard watching this film. And then he like walks out, and he's like, "Honey, watch the kid. I gotta go to the bathroom." And his dick's like sticking halfway up, not halfway up, but it's like pressed, and like you can see the outline on his jeans, his dad jeans in the 90s, and he's walking to the bathroom. Because listen, Michelle Pfeiffer was extremely. By the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that they presented the film, except that it was too weird. But there's nothing wrong with making Catwoman extremely sexy. She is fucking hot, and she is sexy. She's got this like dare to be kind of attitude, and I like
dare to be
bitch. And I wear fucking like a perfume.
Honey, I'm home.
And then
that's
the Penguin,
right.
But I did hate the way they did Penguin, because Penguin, like, he's not a freak. He's not like
there's moments though.
He's not a deformed, but he's never been a deformed freak. Like he's a corrupt businessman that. The way that they did with Colin Farrell in the Batman is more online with.
There's a chicken and the egg thing to that, but I actually I think I might prefer that the Returns Penguin, because it's so dark and twisted.
No,
like,
you're just trying to be different. Don't do that.
No, I'm not trying to be like. Is that a thing? Is it popular to say that like it was cool in the comics? Yeah, I don't know. It is.
It's popular now. You fucking emo bitch.
I didn't realize I was being. I didn't realize I was being edgy. Just being me, dog. No, but yeah, well, I think we'd all agree that Anne Hathaway was a terrible Catwoman. But apart from that,
yeah, that was awful. I don't know what the fuck that was. It's weird, because when we talk about like when we said stuff, this particular actor was a terrible casting choice, we're like shitting on that particular actor and actress. That's not true. We're just saying that was a bad casting decision. Yeah. Like, that'd be like casting Mike or I as fucking Bruce Wayne and Batman. You know what? That's probably not going to work. I mean, you guys are kind of nice, and you're kind of some of you kind of like us, but you would watch a 2-hour film with me and Mike, or one of us being Batman or Bruce Wayne, be like, yeah, it's good. No.
Okay. You know what? I think my big, if I could put my entire feelings about like the Keaton stuff in this movie into one little like section, I would say this. Imagine this, dude. Try to put yourself back into 1992, which I believe was the year. It was a good year.
Yeah.
1992, Batman Returns comes out, and the movie ends, and it's left with what's left. That crazy ending, and then watching that movie for the first time, and they say, "But don't worry, Michael Keaton will be back as Batman again." And the follow-up to that is the Michael Keaton story and what we saw happen in this Flash movie. How do you think 1992 you would feel about this being the follow-up to that and being the death of
First
that
off,
Batman?
I'd be like, the fucking graphics have gotten a lot better since 92.
I'd say
even the shitty version. I mean, I'd be like, it's pretty good. First off, it would say Batman will return in the Flash 2022.
And then this was what they gave you.
Yeah,
this was that character's.
I think what I look at it is like this. I think that it was not Tim Burton direct. It was a character that Tim Burton wrote, came up with, scripted. He knew that character better than anybody else. It's the character that we all grew up with. That was the first introduction to Batman I'd ever had. Of course, Adam West existed, but I didn't grow up on that, so it was always going to be Michael Keaton. So it's always going to be hard for any director to take the nostalgia, the attachment that fans have to a character like the Michael Keaton Batman from '89 and put it in today's world. For example, in Man of Steel, they didn't use the Christopher Reeve palette to make the movie. Zack Snyder, he was like, people know who Superman is. I'm going to make my own take on Superman. And he also did his own take on Batman. In this particular instance, they had to take something that is beloved, that is iconic, and that is like legendary as the '89 Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman, and bring it to 2023. I mean, dude, sometimes dead is better. Like the Pet Cemetery. But I did enjoy, here's why. I did enjoy seeing him again as Bruce Wayne, as Michael Keaton putting on the bat suit and fighting crime, even though he dies in the film. I think it was cool to see it. I'm glad I got to see it. I'm glad they put it in the movie. I feel like it wasn't the best send-off, but at least they gave him, Michael Keaton, an opportunity to play Batman again, because I don't think it's going to come up ever again. Trust me, James Gunn's never going to do that.
No, it's not. I think
never going to do that.
I think that's done. And I think what you said's fair. Like, I do think it's fair. Like, at least he got the opportunity to come back and do it again. And that's all true. I just think, like, for me, if I'm me in 1992, which makes me 7 years old, and I watch Batman Returns and I think, oh, the world is your goddamn oyster, young Padawan. And I think what could happen with this character. And then if you showed me in that instance, if you, Barry Allen, time traveled me to 2023, and this was the end of that fucking amazing,
I think at 7 years old, you wouldn't even know, you would be loving it.
Even then, this groundbreaking, amazing character, and this was his trilogy. This was his final chapter. This was his send-off. I may have just like set my own home on fire and laid down in the basement and just let the world take me. I'm kidding, but like, honest to God, like I think I would have fucking raged against the machine. You know what I mean? Like, I think I would have fucking, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. I may have become a fucking movie producer just to stop this movie from happening. That is the difference between the Keaton we had in 89 and 1992 and what happened. And it's not Keaton's fault. Like, he acted, he did his thing. There were some moments.
I think he did great, man.
He was fine, like, especially for his age and everything. But like, for that character to go from what it was in 1992 to become this fucking goddamn, just, it feels like a fucking cotton candy at a fucking county fair version of that Batman. It's so disappointing. Like, you know,
well, I mean, again, it was the whole movie was a difficult circumstance. I think everyone did the best they could do. All the actors did the best they could do. I saw someone in the comments were saying, well, Machete's just a shitty director. That's not true. I don't think that's true at all.
I think he has holes, like Rob Zombie.
I think he's not a great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's a great director. I mean, he's not a great director. But I think that he did. Listen, that's an impossible situation for any director. I mean, you got to be honest with yourself. Like
with the Ezra stuff,
with the Ezra stuff, and then and not just the Ezra stuff, but that Zack Snyder's gone. And now you don't know what's going on with the company, and you don't know what kind of movie I'm supposed to make. I mean, you can have your opinion about Machete, and I don't think. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a dick sucker for Machete. I'm not a dick sucker for him. Yeah. No, but I mean, I liked it. I didn't like it Chapter 2 that much, but I liked it 1. I thought it was okay. But I think that again, Machete being, in that position, did the best he could do. I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, I like, and don't get me wrong. I will call out directors that are like fucking like jacking off on the track and not giving a fuck about the film, and they're like, I don't care, and I'm gonna do my own goddamn vision. I'm Rob Zombie. Halloween 2 will be about a bearded homeless man with a beard and a mask sticking onto his face, and suck my dick.
Suck my dick, Greg.
I will call those kind of people out, but I think that in Machete's case, he did the best he could fucking do.
I agree.
According to the circumstances, and I think he did a decent job in a lot of ways, and it was just an uphill battle in other ways. And we're not getting paid. We're not getting paid by DC or I'm not friends with Machete. I never met him. I don't fucking know him. I don't even know what his dog looks like, and I'm sure he has one. But I will say, like, honestly, as a fan of 89 Batman, 92 Batman, having the task in front of me, what do I have to do to make this edible to the audience? Even though Zack Snyder's now fired from Warner Brothers, they've got a new director and a new creative force there. Ezra Miller's a fuck up. What am I supposed to do? I think for the most part, it's not the Flashpoint I wanted, but at least it's a decent attempt. That's why I give it an 8. I enjoyed the callbacks. I enjoyed the acting overall. I think the Supergirl was great. I liked Michael Keaton. I mean, loved Michael Keaton seeing him back. Ezra Miller wasn't that bad. Ben Affleck, that's the last time you're ever going to see Ben Affleck as Batman. Ever. The last film. It was cool. I mean,
and again, like I said before, like I understand where the people who really love this film and are getting a lot of shit for filling it up with hyperbole, saying it's one of the best DC films, all this shit. Like, ever, no. I disagree, but like I don't like like I can see how someone could watch this film and feel that way, because there's a lot of moments and stuff. I really can. I can also see the version of someone who watches this and absolutely thinks it's absolute like Troll 2 level garbage. Like I see both sides.
That too, yeah.
I can see where somebody comes from it. For me, where I'm kind of landing, even the more and more you and I talk about it, is like you have, like, if you have the opportunity to use the character of 89 Batman and it's going to help you sell tickets, as we all know it would, if you're going to use that to sell tickets, then by God, you should fucking do it justice. And I feel like they didn't do it justice. I feel like they failed that idea.
So it was a lot of mismanagement, 100%. This whole thing was like a chart of how not to do a movie.
I feel like they failed the tools they had at their disposal, and like I feel like they should be judged accordingly for that. Like it was a fine movie, but literally, dude, like you went out and you had more to make your movie with than maybe anybody's ever had in history. When you look at the characters you could have played with, the things that what you would have done, and you gave us a mediocre movie. That is pretty damning to me. And like, and honestly, like I think, you know, that's why I give the movie as a whole a 6 to a 6.5.
Yeah, and again, I just feel like it's again the whole thing with Eobard Thawne and Reverse Flash not being introduced. And 100%, I feel the reason why they didn't ultimately choose that is because they're moving on from this. There's no, and again, the bonus ending this, Barry Allen taking a drunk Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, out of the bar and explaining to him why he's Aquaman. It's so fucking stupid. It doesn't do anything. And again, I feel like it's a leftover extra credit scene that they did for the Zack Snyder potential universe that never happened, and that's why it was there. But otherwise, it's just a cameo for, you know, girls that like Jason Momoa and how hot he is, and he is hot. But abs. But by the way, I will say at the end of the day, I give it an 8. Mike gives it a 6 to a 6.5. The last thing I want to talk about, real quick, it ain't gonna take long. It ain't gonna take longs at all.
Feed it to
y'all.
my butt.
Hold on to your panties for
Stick
just
it in,
one more
Greg.
second. Just hang on for just one more second here.
I won't.
I will. I wanted to address something really quick. It's not. I'm not going to get into specifics, or names or anything like that. But as you know, last week Mike and I canceled our trip to Tennessee, where we're going to be part of FrankenCon. We were going to do a commentary with Felissa Rose, which we both were looking forward to, and that was going to be awesome. And we talked about it multiple times throughout the streams, and we were looking forward to it. It was going to be an awesome time. But unfortunately, things happened on my end. Some family things came up, and I couldn't make it. And the reason why I couldn't make it is I had to be nearby. Because things had shifted into the red zone. So I'm not going to, so what it was and what it's dealing with is, and again, you don't need to know the name, but my stepmother has leukemia, which is cancer, if you don't know. And it got, I've been dealing with that with my family for about a year and a half, and it got you know how leukemia works. It progressed in the wrong direction. She went into the hospital to get some stem cell treatments. She was going to get a replacement for bone marrow. It didn't take, and she got put on a breathalyzer. She has a feeding tube. And it was bad overall. It was, and I shouldn't be sharing that, but I feel like there was like a miscommunication somewhere.
You shouldn't have to.
Yeah, and there was a miscommunication somewhere, or some people thought that it was just in regards to their behavior or how they've acted or how they feel, and it has nothing to do with those particular people. This was literally about I needed to be nearby. In case something in the worst could happen. So I actually went and seen her on this past weekend, and like I mentioned, she's on a breathalyzer. But the update today was that she was actually taken off the breathalyzer, and she seems like she's doing a little bit better. She has double pneumonia in both her, she has pneumonia in both her lungs. So that is why unfortunately, we had to cancel our trip to Tennessee. And I only want to say that because I don't want people thinking that it was because of any specific reason dealing with stupid shit that I could give a fuck less about, because I don't care, because I think it's petty and I think it's pathetic that you think. And I'm not saying. Here's the thing, because I feel like it was called into question a little bit, and I'm really holding back on what I want to say because I don't want to be like insulting to people, and I don't want to get mad about certain things. But to be honest with you, man, my mom died. My mom died 2 years ago, and I got to deal with just this shit now. And I've been dealing with it for a year. I never brought it up. I don't talk about this shit. I don't want to talk about this shit. But then when I see certain things or I hear it conveyed to me on certain things, because I don't have social media, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on in your brain? But anyway, I want to thank you guys for the support and your prayers, and we really appreciate that. The reason why I don't bring it up on the show, and I don't want to, is because this show is not about that kind of shit. This is my personal fucking life. Mike's got his own personal life, and there's things I want to keep, that's not what the show is about. But that's what it is. All right. So that's what it has been. You don't need to know her name. You don't need to know anything about more than that. But the week before preceding this, it looked bad. And I was like, as a responsible human being, I don't want to go 3 hours away and not be available if, God forbid, she passed and I got to be there for my biological father, which I don't want to get into my whole family history, my dad, and him losing his wife. But that's what's going on. So if any of you thought that shit was fake, you're fucking retarded. I'm sorry for using that word. I shouldn't use that word, but that pisses me off. It fucking pissed me off when I heard about it. And that's it. All right. So I appreciate you guys that stuck it out, though, for real. But thank you.
And yeah, shouldn't have to say that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this channel for over 10 years, and we've never, ever been unkind or done anything to the people that we consider our friends that would be wrong in my eyes. At least not that someone can show me that we did wrong. Mm-hmm. And us having to cancel one event very fucking clearly, you think after 10 years of doing what we do that you could say, hey, I can't be there. I hope you understand why. Mm-hmm. You think that people would understand, and you think you wouldn't have to go further than that, and you wouldn't have to say what you just said.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the world is the world, and that sucks.
Well, no, Mike was a good friend. He stayed behind. I mean, and by the way, the whole idea on Tennessee was the fact that it was a package deal, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they didn't get one part of the band. They wanted the whole set, right?
Yeah.
And then so you're not going to get the whole set. Why would the other guy go? I mean, it's no different. I mean, but he also was being a good friend. I mean, dude, I'm going to tell you what. Dude, I guarantee you would say that shit to my fucking face. Because if I heard what you fucking said, anyway, and I'm not, again, I'm not on social media and I don't want to get too mad about it, but Jesus Christ, dude, like even accusing or even, not accusing, but I guess what the word would be is alluding or possibly saying that they're lying because of your shit. It's fucking disgusting. It's fucking disgusting, and you need to re-examine your fucking life, because I've never in my life ever fucking said when my mom died, and when mom was going through what she went through, I didn't fucking lie about that. Why the fuck would I lie about that? And when this is going on, I didn't want to bring this up, but because of situations where Mike's being harassed and I'm like, I gotta do this now. I'm not harassed. Maybe that's a strong word, but like called into question or some shit like that. I got to bring this up, but I'm going to say this one more time. That shit's happening. You don't need to know my stepmother's name, and you never will, because I'm not bringing that shit up. I don't want you to know. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, it's leukemia. Okay. It's fucking leukemia. She got double pneumonia the week prior to this. And she was she was intubated. She's already on a feeding tube. It's not looking good. She's 56 years old. That's all you need to know. She's a young young woman. 56 is young. So that's it. All right. And that's how we're going to end that. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, no, you can talk for sure, but it just disgusts me, dude. It disgusts me on fucking levels I can't even describe, that people think it's about their petty ass shit when they bring that shit up.
Yeah. And yeah, you should, I mean, the only thing I have to add to that is you shouldn't have to fucking say it. Shouldn't have to fucking say that. What we've done for the past 10 fucking years and how we've treated people on our Patreon and the people who we've called friends, you should not have to fucking say that on a live stream on fucking YouTube for people to trust you when we've never done anything to question anything that we've done before.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking shame, and that sucks. And I'm sorry for you that you had to say it, and you didn't have to. The people who know, and it's all good. But yeah, shouldn't have to fucking say that. We should go with that fucking shame. And for a lot of people it did, and we appreciate you guys who fucking just understood.
And again, I'm not this community is so wonderful, and it's so amazing, and there's so much love, and there's so much support in this community, this horror community, this community that we're a part of. And I'm honored to be a part of it. I really am. But there are a select few sometimes that show themselves in the community, and maybe they show their true nature. I don't know. And I'm honored to be friends with all of you guys, and we really do appreciate all the support and all the love and all the I appreciate all the well wishes. I really do. All the prayers that you guys have put out for us. And again, I would never even in my darkest day even think to make this shit up. Like what kind of monstrous human being would do that shit? It's so fucking disgusting. And I mean, maybe the particular people or person or whatever that I'm talking about weren't saying that I was making it up, but it felt like they were. And that makes me fucking sick to my stomach and pisses me off, because anybody that would do that are heinous addition to the human race, and they need to fucking die. So the fact that I wasn't accused, but it was almost like suggested that it was fake.
Yeah. And let that,
I mean, and here's the thing. And I'm not going to do that because fuck that. But I was like, I could just take a picture of my stepmother in the fucking hospital bed with the breathing tube and the feeding tube, and my dad being sad, talking about how he don't know how he's going to live his life without his wife. I could do all that shit and put that on fucking, bitch ass Facebook if that'll make you feel better. But for you, fuck you. Fuck you if you think you need that.
And yeah, I mean, and again, that's the last time we'll even fucking bring it up.
I only brought it up.
I know why.
I mean, but I'm never. I don't want to talk about it ever again. And the reason why also is because I want these chats and these reviews and this live stream stuff. We're all about positivity here. We're all about having a good time and fun time. Let's drink some beers. Let's crack some cans of beer and smoke some cigarettes or weed or whatever your preference is, and just have a good time. But there are certain moments, dude. There's certain moments where it's like, all right, if you want to get real, we'll get fucking real for a second. And I got real for a second, and that's the last time. I promise I will get real. But don't bring that shit up. Like, don't bring that shit to my doorstep. Because I'm not even on social media, bro. I'm not even on social media, and then I hear it from Mike, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, that shit pisses me off.
And I'll just add to that okay, I'll just add to that the entire fucking point of what we do here and this entire fucking channel is that we found friendship in you guys, in the same way you guys have found friendship in us, and that it's this community of people who can come together and have a good time together and have fun. No person is more important than any other person. As a thing on the Patreon too, like even on the Patreon, like I've had to say to people too, like, you subscribe to the Patreon, that doesn't that we appreciate it and it's amazing, but you get things for that. But there's everybody here is fucking equal, and like, this is meant to be a place for fucking everyone. It's meant to be a place for everyone. You don't get to come in and create factions and start shit behind the scenes and put people against each other and make this yours. This is fucking everybody's. This is for fucking everyone. And on the last thing I'll say about that is there's those people that where all this stuff comes from. is when people say things behind the scenes and they try to get people to believe their narratives. Like all that shit always comes back to us because people know that we're honest and that we know that we tell the truth. And at the end of the day, we put our heads down on our pillow and we know we told the truth and we know that we're good to the people around us and we know that we do best and we try to do what's right. And that's the fucking last thing I ask myself before I make any decision is what is the right fucking thing to do. And when you can put your head on your pillow at night and you know you did that thing, even if you upset people, even if you caused up a stir, that's the point. But I will fucking sleep good at night, and I know you will too, and that's the point. And always that shit for some reason always comes back to us, and like we see people saying those things, and it's horrible and it's upsetting, and most importantly it's fucking hurtful, and it causes
it really is, man. It really is actually hurtful because it's like, man, I thought you were my friend, man. Why would you, I don't know. And maybe it wasn't meant to sound like that, but it does sound like that. It sounds like you're making this stuff up. And I'm like, man, why in the fuck would I ever do that? Like, why? I mean, my God, dude.
Yeah.
Why? Why would I do that? Like, I guess I faked my mom dying too. My mom didn't die. She's still alive. I wish I did fake it. I wish I had faked all of it, but it's not fake. And people that take that kind of attitude and say stupid shit on Twitter, man, you got to live with that shit. You know what? You really got to live with that shit. I mean, you can delete your Twitter, you can delete your tweet, but you said it. You know what I mean?
And the point
you said your stupid shit online in front of everybody, and that, come on, man. Like, have some respect. Have some fucking respect and integrity. God damn, man. Is that hard? If someone told me, if someone looked in my fucking face and said, this is happening, and I still tweeted out something out, I would have more fucking respect for myself to do that shit. I would never have done it. I wouldn't do that shit.
And it's not just that, it's people behind the scenes going around and trying to spread stuff that's not true. And again, you shouldn't have to say what was actually happening.
I shouldn't, but I mean, I did because you know what? I love you guys and I love this community. Love Mike. I love everything about this thing that we built. Started in 2012, man. It's 2023. We've been at this shit for 11 years. We've never lied to you. We've never fucking been dishonest with you. And anything in our real life that prevents us from doing something that we can do fully to our ability, meaning meet you guys or go out and do like a booth or whatever. If we can't do that, if there's a reason why we can't do that, it's 100%. We've always been completely transparent. So I want to be transparent with you guys. That's what happened. But I don't want when bad things happen to all of us. All right. And I'm not special. All right. I know that they've lost their moms. People in their life have gone through, their family members go through cancer. Maybe they themselves are going through cancer. So I'm not trying to be special. I don't want donations or donos about that kind of shit. I'm not doing that. The reason why I'm doing this is just,
which is the point why you didn't want to fucking say it in the first place.
Right. That's why I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to even have that conversation. But I just feel like it's just to kind of clear the room out a little bit, right? Just kind of clear the smoke, because there's been some smoke. And but that's it, man. I love you guys, but we're always going to be here, just have fun and look, bad shit happens, man. Life happens. We're all going to have like really difficult uphill battles sometimes in our lives, and unfortunately for me, I've had some bad luck in the last couple of years. I've hit all fucking bars on the slot machine, but it'll turn around. Hopefully it turns around, but we all have those moments. So but I just wanted to address it because I don't want any confusion out there with I don't even know what to call them, man. Fuck, dude. They're not rebels. They're disillusioned, I guess, in certain things. But we're Mike and I, man. We love you guys and thank you guys for being a part of the stream. Those that you understand, and we've never and again, we're always going to be truthful. We're always going to be truthful when we can. And the reason why I kept my shit secret and I keep my shit private, that's just how I am. I have a private life. I keep a private life. And you all can respect that. You all understand that. So,
and you should have the opportunity to do so. You should have the opportunity to do so, and then stuff and again, I go back to the same thing. People, when certain people say stuff like, when you're good to people and you're honest and again, you always do the right thing. People come back to you and they let you know what people are saying, and there's people who are going around and saying that like that's not true, and like that basically just to put it in a nutshell, that we didn't go to Knoxville for some bullshit dumb stuff.
So dumb. I mean, yeah, it's like, oh my god, in the overall aspect of the universe, like you think like how, oh my god, dude.
I know.
You know what? Yeah, you gotta be so egotistical. You gotta be so egotistical.
Don't even
that the world revolves around that. But here's the thing, I will say this. I by the way, and maybe they do. I love you guys, who they are. You guys don't ever do that again. All right? Don't ever do that again.
Yeah. It sucks.
I'm not in the game of the blame game. I'm not gonna name who they are. I'm not gonna say shit like that. But guys, you guys know who you are. Don't ever do that again. All right?
Yeah.
Like if you need to fucking have a real goddamn conversation, email Mike and he'll tell you. If you're really desperate to fucking know why isn't Jay being 100%, there's a reason why. It's because I didn't want it to become like. And again, guys, thank you guys. But again, the next live stream we're doing, no donos on any of that shit. Okay, no donos on that. All right, I don't want donos on like because of the stuff. None of that. All right,
and that's why you didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, and because I have to feel like I have to explain it. Right.
Yeah,
we're not here for that. We're like, don't do that. All right.
No, the whole thing's dumb. It's just yeah.
Long story, if you're because all the other shit, but
I understand why you no, I understand exactly what you said. You shouldn't have had to, but just for those of you who are, if you're confused, like it's pretty simple. Like we had to cancel a fucking appearance at something, and then there's a running fucking rumor that like that was fake, and we didn't actually have to cancel it because people thought that it had something to do with just something completely outside of anything that had anything to do with us. And it's sad that after 10 years of being good to people, you have to explain yourself, and people just can't take it at face value, and that fucking sucks, and it pisses me off for you as your friend. I never said anything. It's your fucking your right to say something about it. I'm fucking pissed that you had to. So we'll just fucking move on because I'm just gonna say dumb shit.
But I want to say, but thank you guys. I know this is like a complete reverse of what we're talking about, but thank you guys for coming out and hanging out with us, talking about The Flash. It's awesome. Really love you guys, and you know what? I know it's not we're a horror centric channel, so it's always really cool to see, almost 300 of you like showing up to talk about The Flash, and it was fun, man. And cheers to the future. We hope to do more of this kind of stuff where it's not always horror, and we can do a little bit more of spoiler stuff on big maybe superhero movies or other movies or whatever. So it's always fun, man.
It's a fucking party no matter what. Catch up on the super chats before we go. Daniel Torres said, growing up, I always preferred Batman Returns to 89. Couldn't tell you why. Penguin killing little kids. Isn't that a little bang?
No, we read that one.
Did I read that?
No, we already read that.
I felt when I was doing it that I read that.
Mike's a fake Twitter user.
You know what? I'm not actually a real person. I'm just an AI prescribed human being.
Terrible. I knew it was bad.
Mike said McDonald's should have never advertised returns. I mean,
I kind of like it, though. I thought it was kind of cool, though. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool.
But I think that did twist up.
But
like,
it was very corporate.
It
was very corporate.
Moms got real upset about that shit. Yeah. Robin Barker said, was beyond happy to see Michael Keaton's Batman on the big screen. I hope he returns again. There's talks of him returning, so I have high hopes. Batman Returns will always be my favorite.
A lot of people's are, man. I mean, I was actually always shocked with how many people love Returns. I liked 89 better. But, I mean, I guess as you get older, Returns maybe just sticks with you more. I don't know.
Yeah, this whole thing just left me feeling robbed. It felt like an AI holographic
would you watch an HBO Max series of Michael Keaton coming back and putting on the suit one more? Dude, imagine doing a 10 episode HBO Max series where Batman's like Gotham safe, and then all of a sudden the call gets in, Joker's back, or not Joker, but a Joker clan, and he has to put on the
buddy, unzip my pants. You can have
ready to put it in.
I'm ready. Dan Murphy says, thinking of you and the family, Jay. My father passed in March from leukemia. Didn't make it to the bone marrow transplant. Got lung infection and then COVID and couldn't fight it yesterday. It was tough for me. I love you guys.
Hey man, Dan, thank you, man. Yeah, man, you pretty much explained. That's pretty much the diagnosis where we're at right now, and that's why I couldn't go. She went in for the bone marrow transplant. She got pneumonia, double pneumonia, because it went in both her lungs. But yeah, exactly. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it sucks, man. Cancer fucking sucks. I wish somebody could run back in time and punch God in the face and say, "Don't make that shit."
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. Love you, man. Pop Culture with Pat said, nothing but love for both you guys. Always take care of your families and yourselves first. I hope you never feel like you have to explain anything.
No, yeah, I appreciate that, man. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I was forced to do it. I just feel like I needed to do it. You know what I mean? Because there's been a lot of flack, and I'm not on social. I can't defend myself. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook even anymore.
It's not even social media.
I had to
it's
deactivate my
messages.
MySpace account.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's joke. But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I shouldn't have to, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah,
I just felt like I needed to come out and clear the air a little bit so we can restart. We're at the restart point.
Yeah. Well, it sucks. And I'll just say what it is. It sucks because it's not even a social media thing. Honestly, it's
real life.
When we create this thing and we have this tight knit group in this community of people, and it's really fucking awesome and it's really fucking cool. But I guess some people feel ownership of it, and then when something doesn't go their way, they take ultimately what it ended up in is them taking a horrible personal situation and turning it into something nefarious and behind the scenes telling people something it wasn't. And unfortunately that led to Jay having to, when something was private in his private life, having to come out into the open. And that is a place anybody who questions it can go and look and see. And that sucks that you have.
By the way, we've kept our, I mean, we've shared a lot of our private lives with you, all of you, but there are things that happen in our lives that we want to keep private for reasons. And I don't need to explain why, but I mean, there are things that happen in our lives that we want to keep private. And this was a particular thing I wanted to keep private, and I can't because if
you tried to,
but if it's coming out that if it's affecting our dignity, our reputation, I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have that. Fuck that.
And by the way, this is not something we talked about beforehand.
I just did it. I just did it. But
we talked about,
I'm not going to have that.
How much it sucks and how disappointing it is. But I just think that.
Well, it's out there now. You guys know where we are, and that's what happened. So
yeah, it's this fucking bummer. Pop Culture with Pat. We really appreciate you, dude.
Thank you, man.
That's a good dude right there. Michael Parton says, love you guys. You both are truly the best. And I feel so grateful for you guys and the Wham fam in general.
Hey, man. Love you, Michael, man. Yeah. Thank you, man. We love you, have you here. And you're a great guy, man. We love you, man.
We love you too, man. We really appreciate all your support, dude. JD is LA says, you guys bring so much joy and love to people. And for that, we thank you. You guys are the best.
Hey, man. Thank you, man. I love it. Even though you look like a cop that's like desperate to beat somebody with a nightstick.
Did you just fucking jaywalk, slut?
Did you cough when I gave you no permission to do so?
Thanks, JD. Sinister Grace says, gotta go, but you and Mike are the best. Love you, bros. Love you too, man.
Thank you, man.
Hey, you know what, dude? We gotta fucking go too. We have
to get out.
That was a poignant time stamp.
I love
Sinister. And again, last thing I'll say about the whole situation. Today was fun. This was awesome. I love the fucking fact we're so goddamn lucky we can go watch a movie that everybody's fighting about, everybody's bitching about, Twitter, wherever, whatever. We can come here. Jay and I have completely different views of the movie, but we can all talk about it, have a good goddamn time,
be respectful,
have fun with it, look forward to it. It's a great fucking time. And then at the end of the fucking day, this fucking place that you're watching right now, this whole thing, Patreon, everything included is it's for fucking everybody. Without you guys, Jay and I are outsiders, and because of this channel, we feel included, and we have a group, and we appreciate and love and accept everybody so long as they don't hurt each other. And that's what this fucking show and this fucking channel and We Watch the Movie is about, is that all outsiders are invited so long as you treat each other with respect. And so many fucking people here do.
It's an easy path to follow, isn't it? Just treat the person left and right to you as a human being.
Yep.
That should be the world. dogma right there. Where you come from, what's your religion, what color are you, what's your sexual orientation? I don't fucking care. You're a human being. I'll treat you like a human being. That's pretty much what we do here. Left and right of you, it doesn't matter. And Mike and I are honored to be a part of this community. And thank you guys so much for sticking around with us for so long. We've been doing this since 2012, like I mentioned, over 11 years. It's been fucking amazing. Ups and downs. The entire adventure has been an adventure. But I wouldn't rather be anywhere else except here. You guys are very much like a second family to us. You guys allow us to vent. You allow us to have fun. You guys allow us to just be ourselves. And that's becoming rarer and rarer in today's world. And so thank you guys for being who you are and all. And we appreciate every single one of you, even in the ones that shadow stalk. We like our shadow stalkers too. The ones that have been here forever that just don't talk. And you watch every stream and you just don't talk.
Greg.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Greg.
That fucking Kevin is up there again in the rafters watching with his crow paint. Yeah.
Good night, friends. Cheers to all of you. We fucking love you. We'll see you soon. Maybe sooner than you think. Maybe in your bedroom tonight. In your bunk. Finger in your butt. You never know. You never fucking know.